All right, hi everybody. Meteorologist David Glenn here as we are approaching close to midnight. And as we expected, if you've been watching our live streams throughout the night and early into the evening hours, we've been anticipating the line of showers and storms drawing closer. And that's what we have right now. And several warnings are in effect. And we're going to step you through this and stay with you to as long as these storms are a threat until everything starts to calm down. But that's not the case yet. A lot going on. We've got this warning out for northern Walker, parts of Catoosa, northern Dade. That's out until midnight Eastern, a very loud storm with that, potential strong wind gust. We got this line here back over Jackson County. And notice right here in red, that is a flash flood warning. No surprise there because the storms are very slow movers and dropping a ton of rain. And that's going to be a big, big problem. We've seen that all too often, unfortunately, this summer, where slow-moving storms on saturated ground have caused some flash flooding. But let's take a look at the radar loop itself. These are all making their way off to the east very, very slowly. And notice this storm that is near Ringgold. See that little purple right there? Well, that's no surprise. This updated that advisory. But you see that purple right there? That could have some hail with it. At the very least, some very heavy rain. But in and around Ringgold, boy, look at that. A lot of lightning with that. That storm is a slow mover, heavy downpours of rain. That is a new special weather statement, meaning they're anticipating it to stay below severe levels, even though it's noisy. But between now and 12:15, that could have wind gust of 40 to 50 miles an hour. Penny-size hail, I think we just showed where that was, and even some cloud-to-ground lightning with that. So Indian Springs, Ringgold, Tunnel Hill, Varnell, all included in that advisory until 12:15 a.m. Now, the storm over Fort Oglethorpe down to the battlefield, right here. This is originated right over Lookout Mountain and then made its way eastward. It's straddling East Ridge, south side, East Ridge, all the way down to Fort Oglethorpe, Boynton area, down to Chickamauga. This warning out until midnight Eastern in the next few minutes. That storm, again, could have wind gusts upwards of 60. And again, heavy downpours of rain and lightning. But a lot of that, the outflow for these storms has sparked development farther east along that line. So again, that's why this one here had that quickly upgraded to an advisory here. We'll keep an eye on that storm. But right there near Ringgold, they could have some hail right there southwest of the city. But again, lighting up the sky quite a bit. For all you folks north of Chattanooga, not much going on, but you can see all the lightning down to the south. And you can see here, Fort Oglethorpe, heavy rain, lots of lightning. Same thing toward Chickamauga. You go back to Tiftonia, Whiteside, right along Nickajack Lake on I-24, very heavy rain and lightning there. It extends into the city. The city has a lot of heavy downpours, though not under a warning at the time. Farther back to the west here, quite a bit of heavy downpours of rain. And again, a long line of severe thunderstorm warnings right along this line from Huntland down to Paint Rock and then farther south and west. All of this has yet to move to the east, but as it does so, again, could cause more heavy rain. Scottsboro, heavy rain and lightning with that storm. Same thing all the way up to around Bridgeport to South Pittsburgh, right along Highway 72. I'm going to take out that that flash flood warning just for a second. I'll leave the polygons. There we go. Just so we can see the rain better. Okay, and we'll go back to that flash flood warning momentarily. But just wanted to show you again the advisories versus where the warnings are. Now let's take a look at that storm right there near Ringgold. That one has some very heavy rain with it. Could have some hail. Look at the hail tracker coming up. Strong wind gusts accompanying that. Again, it's probably below severe levels, the reason why they stay below a warning. Let's look at the hail tracker here. I'm going to be looking right in this area, right in here, just southwest of the city, just right along Highway 2, right in there where it's purple. That's high reflectivity there. That means some hails with that. Let's isolate that. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. Mm-hmm. Be safe.
You too, bud.
Let's look at the hail currently right there. We'll take the lightning off so you can see that. Take a moment for it to pop up here. Yeah, there we go. Right in that area. That's some good reflectivity there. That's upwards of around quarter size, just over quarter size, over an inch. So when you reach quarter size or an inch in diameter, that's severe storm. So again, let's keep an eye on that if they upgrade that to a warning. But either way, that is a storm that is producing hail, strong wind gusts, and it's right there, just right along 75 and just right along the south of Highway 2A. Here's Three Knots Road right here. So again, we'll keep an eye on that cell right there in Ringgold. Watch the loop over the past hour. And again, it's got some good lift with that. And it's been aided by the outflow from the storms approaching from the west. So again, that's a pretty strong storm there near Ringgold. Again, potential for hail, heavy downpours of rain, a lot of lightning. I'm sure it's shaking your house right now. I'm going to take the hail tracker off here for a second. Put all the other parameters back up here. Start with the lightning layer. And then we'll start with the sphere polygons. And then the radar. And look at that. I'm going to take that out. Take the advisory off there for a second, so in case they upgrade that to a warning if they do. But there you have it. Right along Battlefield Parkway, Boynton Road, Baggett Road, Three Notch Road, very heavy rain and quite intense there near Ringgold. So we're going to keep an eye on that storm. That does carry over across the state line to East Brainerd. There's a 24-75 split, very heavy rain where that warning remains in effect until midnight Eastern. That's roughly about the next 10 minutes there. And then around the city, the Chattanooga itself, just a lot of heavy rain, a lot of lightning. Wind gusts not too strong, but these are not, there's no warnings of these. So Red Bank, heavy rain. Back up Signal Mountain. You go back to Tiftonia, Lookout Valley area, and back into northern Dade County, northern Jackson County. More heavy rain and lightning coming in all the way to South Pittsburgh, all the way to Bridgeport. Again, none of these areas under a warning at the time. These are still strong storms rolling by. Just stay inside till these move on through. And we'll keep an eye on these near the Huntsville area, making their way to the east. A lot of forecast models have been projecting a gradual weakening with time. We're not at that point yet, but with time between now and say 2 a.m., a gradual weakening. We'll just have to see when that starts taking place. Models are one thing, reality is another. And we know that in forecasting. That's why we have to watch this and do more nowcasting than forecasting to see if the forecast models adjust what's happening on the radar screen. But again, if you're watching us early this evening, not a surprise. We talked about between 10 and midnight, we'd start seeing this activity popping up, and here it is. It's there. And we're going to keep an eye on this for the next couple of hours as this moves on through. And again, the slow movement means some very heavy rain with that. And unfortunately, some flash flooding there. Again, this warning here out till midnight Eastern. But again, this one has a storm advisory on it. This one near Ringgold. Very heavy rain. We talked about the hail with that right there. If you have hail, let us know in the comments there. Not far from Boynton Road, back down across Battlefield Parkway. And down crossing the interstate to right near, just south of downtown Ringgold. Levi here says it's hailing a lot in Ringgold. Yep. Don't venture outside. If you want to let us know, by our tracker, it showed about a quarter size. Let us know if you can just kind of guesstimate there looking out the window. I don't want you to go out there in there, but would like to know what size. But that indeed is a pretty nasty cell there. Velocity scans showing some strong gust accompanying that in and around the Ringgold area right there. There we go. No surprise. If your alert box just went off or you got alert tone on your smartphone, here's why. That's what we've talked about. They did pop a warning on that. Severe thunderstorm warning now in effect for Catoosa and Whitfield County, more specifically for all of Catoosa and north central Whitfield. So that storm over Ringgold moving east at 10 miles an hour could have 60-mile-an-hour gusts and their estimate nickel-size hail. Again, we showed that hail core there. Some of our viewers letting us know what's going on. But again, no surprise that they upgraded that to a severe thunderstorm warning for Catoosa and north central Whitfield out till 12:30 Eastern time, roughly the next 35 minutes. So that storm is heading east at 10. And again, with it being that slow, watch out for areas of flash flooding as well. Let's put a quick tracker on this for you. Again, it's going to take its own sweet time clearing out this polygon here. Yeah. So here's a rough estimate. So Tunnel Hill just before midnight in the next few minutes. You're probably already hearing the thunder. Varnell, same thing. You're on the outer edge of it, but the heavier downpours reaching you in the next few minutes. Prater Mill around 12:30. Out of the Tunerville here around 12:48. in that part of northern Whitfield. So it's here now and only moving east about 10 miles an hour. The cell behind it has made some movement. And of course, the outflow from that quickly sparked that development of that cell there near Ringgold, where they picked it up and moved it north and east. And now it's moving due east. And again, this warning polygon here for Fort Oglethorpe and Chickamauga, that is out until midnight Eastern time, roughly the next 5 minutes. But it's this one that's the stronger of the two. It does ooze over the state line, southern parts of Hamilton and southern Bradley. So just south of Ottawa and that Taylor's Ridge, White Oak Mountain area there, that's where that's going to be moving over. Still very heavy rain, Fort Oglethorpe to the battlefield to Chickamauga. Heavy downpours of rain around the city, all the way to Signal Mountain, a lot of lightning, though no warnings in effect. No warnings, but it's still very loud, very noisy. Other warnings locally, those over eastern Jackson County have expired, but around Scottsboro, this warning with this line of storms coming in, that is in effect until 12:30 Eastern, 11:30 Central. Wind gusts upwards of 60 miles an hour and very heavy rain and lightning. That is moving east at 25, so a little bit faster there. And some of that with time can move into parts of northwest Georgia. So let's put a tracker on these. This is just going to be a rough estimate because it's kind of a broken line. So sometimes the cells move a little faster, some move a little slower. So we'll average the time out to about 20 miles an hour. But either way, over the next hour, crossing the state line. So heads up, southern parts of Dade, southern Walker, and parts of Chattooga, this line coming your way. That's over near Scottsboro now. Over Jackson County should eventually cross over into DeKalb County. So Fort Payne, notice all these times are Central Time except for Kensington, which is at 12:52 Eastern. All these are Central Time. So around 12:30 Eastern Valley Head, 12:19 Eastern Fort Payne, and over near Eider at 12:23 Eastern Time. That's where this broken line of storms to move on through. And again, the newest severe thunderstorm warning went on as we were tracking that. It's right there, Catoosa in north central Whitfield. That's out to 12:30 Eastern. Again, could have some large hail. Many of you have already noted that. Our viewers have let us know that hail has been occurring there near Ringgold. Our radar indicated upwards of quarter size. The National Weather Service advisory had nickel-size hail. Either way, that could still do some damage. And still some wind gust potential upwards of 60. When you're dealing with hail that large, you're dealing with a stronger updraft in the storm. So you could have some very strong gusts with that. And of course, the lightning risk is dangerous enough out there. Unfortunately, we've had, Monday night, with the lightning, so much lightning. There were 2 house fires I know of that were total losses because of the lightning. We certainly hope that does not happen tonight. But with all this going on, it's just an unfortunate thing. So we'll keep an eye on that one. That one near Ringgold's not moving much. So if you live in a flood-prone area, be aware there's going to be excessive runoff and a very heavy rain there. All right, Deanne says here, bad hail in Ringgold. Stay put, stay safe. Let the storm pass on by. Again, rough estimate, nickel size to quarter size of that one. From East Boynton to Ringgold, over to around the Keith area, right along 41, right along 75 where it crosses the interstate, and just coming off Battlefield Parkway there, back there, just near the Boynton area. The warning behind it, from Fort Oglethorpe down to Chickamauga, that warning is about to expire in the next minute. It's still raining heavily. A lot of lightning, although the intensity of that cell's come down a bit. I mean, it's still loud, but it's not to the same intensity that it once was. We'll see if they continue that warning, Peachtree City does, or if they allow it to expire. But either way, I think the stronger of the 2 cells is this one here. The reason why these areas like Tunnel Hill, Varnell, Cohutta are all under this warning for the next half hour. So we'll hold that here on this view as this one's about to expire as we approach midnight. We'll look at another different view here, viewpoint, different radar. Yeah, strongest gusts there seem to be around Ringgold and just to the west. And still some strong gusts in and around Lookout Mountain area. Gusts 35 to 40, but under severe levels. So this is still providing some gusts on the south side of the city. And the strongest part of that storm is right there near Ringgold. So this warning is expired. Still, again, heavy downpours of rain, lightning, strong gusts, Chickamauga to the battlefield, to Fort Oglethorpe, right along 27, all the way to about Rock Springs. So, just stay put, let that storm pass by. All right. We'll check some of the power outages coming up with this storm. Let's check the wind in here. That is a noisemaker there in Ringgold. Not only that, a lot of hail. This is a very severe storm there. And we're going to track the most intense part of that storm, moving east at 10. Another timeline real roughly here. Now keep in mind, it's already raining in Cohutta, about to rain in Varnell, but we're tracking this part right here. So that'll reach Varnell around 12:30 and Cohutta around 12:40, even though you're getting rain and lightning now. But if that strong core holds together, it'll make its way eastward by that time. Slow mover, east at 10 miles an hour. My goodness. Elsewhere, aside from that warning, we got these warnings out till 12:30 as well, coming across western Jackson County, and now all this area along Highway 72 in Jackson County. Okay, rain, lightning there, although no warnings with that, which is a good thing. Hope that stays the case, but that's going to be approaching Dade and Walker, so get ready for downpours, and lightning thunder is going to keep you up. Let's take a look at some of the comments here. David says, I'm right outside of Ringgold and Tunnel Hill, seeing lots of lightning and thunder. Just started to rain, but no strong winds or hail yet. Thank you, David. Let's see. Let's see a few other comments here. I found my cursor. There we go. Okay, Debbie says lost power in Ringgold. And we'll take a look at our power outage map coming up. David says hail and strong winds there. Sharon says calmer in South Pitt, but hearing an eerie roar toward Bridgeport. Yeah, indeed. A lot of lightning still in and around South Pitt and just to the south and east. And Gary says, great lightning show and thunder in Appleton. Nothing severe yet. It's getting close to you there, Gary, but yep, you can see it approaching from the west. You can probably hear the rain on our rooftop right now, heavy downpour occurring. It's a good thing it's this time of night, not as many people on the roads. That's always a good thing. We'll pull up our storm cams. Show you some of the views around the viewing area. All right, let's add this, show this to you. You hear that roar? All right, this is from our storm cam on at Common Spirit Memorial Hospital. That's looking south, okay? So that's down, I believe, Glenwood, where it then becomes Dodds Avenue as it crosses McCauley, and looking down toward Missionary Ridge, down toward Lookout Mountain, and down into North Georgia, where it's a light show with all that lightning going on. So that's if you're looking down to the south. Same thing near AT&T Field. Let's look at this view. This is from Rock City. You can see Lover's Leap there on the left-hand part of the screen under our banner, and all the lightning going on just all around the valley. Mostly cloud to cloud. I'm sure there's some cloud to ground lightning as well. And one more view here. This is from this is from the Edwin. Is this from the Edwin or Doubletree? Either way, let's look toward the aquarium. That's on the Edwin. Looking toward the aquarium. Downpours in the city, occasional lightning there, but not the light show like we're seeing across North Georgia. I'll go back to this one. So there's around AT&T Field. You can see raindrops in the camera lens. The streets are glistening. They're wet. There you go. Occasional lightning going on there. And again, this one's really lit up because it's pointed to the south in the right direction where all the storms are ongoing. There you have it around Ringgold, and that thing is not moving, folks. Tremendous downpours going on there. Be aware of flash flooding. We had that flash flooding issue a couple of weeks ago. A lot of it was because with some storm drain issues. I understand that. But when you got rain coming out this rate, live in a flood-prone area, that part of Catoosa, do be aware of that. All right. But heavy rain, tremendous amount of lightning here, making its way eastward toward Tunnel Hill. But it's a slow mover there. And that rain goes all the way back to Fort Oglethorpe. That's outside the warning. But again, this part of Ringgold under this warning until 12:30 Eastern. Pull up a EPB outage map here. Let's see how things stand so far. Look at the EPB outage map. Not too bad so far. There are some outages around Rossville, outages around East Ridge, and outages on Lookout Mountain on the it looks like just across the state line on the Georgia side of Lookout. So some power outages there. But I'll keep a watch of that map and show it to you if things start picking up a bit. I'm going to show you a different camera here. Show you one of the TDOT cams. Okay, this is coming around Moccasin Bend. You can see lightning there in the distance. That's coming into town on the right-hand part of the screen and going outbound on the left side. You see the Tennessee River there to your left. A lot of lightning, heavy rain there. Let's get a few of these others. That's Jersey Pike. This was Browns Ferry, where it's raining heavily there on I-24. Golly, you can see the mist there where the truck's being pulled up. So I'm surprised traffic's still able to move that fast. Look at all the lightning going on. And you can see the rain just below me on the radar. That's raining heavily there, and that's what it looks like from a traffic point of view. Wow. All right, make me smaller and show the radar. There we go. Let's go back and isolate this storm here in Ringgold. Look at the hail once again, the current hail situation. So we'll take off a couple of layers. I wish I could make it all just go away like that. Wouldn't it be nice? But unfortunately, we can't do that. We can't control that. But look at the hail. Okay. Now that's a good sign. So we're minus the blue. That's a good sign. But see, I noticed that where that hail's happening, it's not been moving. So that's been over the past 30 minutes kind of stuck in the same spot. The estimate on the radar shows the hail at about coming down a bit, just under quarter size. So yeah, that nickel quarter size corresponds quite well with that warning. But not quite as large as it once was, but still it's not moving. And look at the estimated rainfall totals here. Well, we'll look at the rainfall rate. Hang on. So if the rain was parked in that area, trying to get a rainfall rate here. Well, you have to isolate so many layers to get this info. So let me take the polygon off. There we go. And we'll take the lightning off too. So you can see that very heavy rain over Ringgold. So, okay. That shows you 8.5 inches per hour if it didn't move. But that means if you divide it up into quarters, okay, that would mean roughly about 2 inches every 15 minutes with it not moving much. So that storm is easily putting down 1 to 2 inches where it's happening. But if it does not move, it could be even heavier. But that's a tremendous amount of rainfall rate happening right there. Some of that may be picking up where hail's occurring. So it may be throwing off that rate just a bit. So I'm going to click it right in here where it's more of that bright red. That gives you about more of an idea. So about 4 inches per hour or about 1 inch every 15 minutes. So again, that's in a half hour's time, 2 inches of rain. It's a lot of water. Okay. So no shock that we've already seen in parts of Alabama, they've got flash flood warnings in effect over Jackson County because of these storms that roll on through. And I can hear the rain over us right now. It is heavy out there. Now let's put the polygons back on there. Again, roughly for the next 18 minutes, that severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect for parts of Whitfield, north central Whitfield, Autaucatusa until 12:30 Eastern time. Let's move north just a bit and just show you that around central southern Hamilton County, things are kind of picking up a bit. Notice the movement. Notice on this northerly edge kind of creeping northeast a bit. While all of this has had more of an easterly movement, that's now moving northeast a bit. So Snow Hill, Soddy Daisy over to Georgetown, and eventually Cleveland. You're seeing the light show to your south. You're hearing the rumbles of thunder. That's getting closer to you. Not a severe situation. In fact, the storm over Ringgold that has a warning is now moving more east, but the outflow from that is sparking more development over central southern Bradley, central southern Hamilton. So Soddy Daisy, Snow Hill, Cleveland, you got heavy downpours and lightning moving your way. Again, almost paralleling I-24 and 59. Heavy rain from around Bridgeport to Stevenson to just north of Trenton. Heavy rain. Heavy rain continues in the area no longer under the warning from Chickamauga to Fort Oglethorpe and all the way into the city. And again here where we just showed the TDOT cam near Moccasin Bend, heavy rain, lightning there. So making its way off to the east. And again, for you folks in southern parts of Dade and Walker, Chattooga, ooh, that's loud. That woke a lot of people up. That line right there, that is all moving east. So for you folks in DeKalb, Dade, Walker, Chattooga, you got a lot of downpours, a lot of lightning coming your way. These are, but again, they're very slow movers. So again, we have 2 warnings currently. I don't have the other advisories on there because I'm trying just to isolate the polygons where the warnings are. Sometimes it get lost with all the activity on the map. So I just want to show you where the worst ones are. If I pop this back up here, you see there are several advisories. These are below severe thunderstorm warnings. I want to keep it to where we can just see where the warnings are. But we're showing you the areas that have these advisories where it's, you got wind gusts of 40, heavy rain and lightning, but we want to keep on there and highlighted where the warnings are. Okay. So we'll routinely go back to that from time to time. Let's take a look at estimated rainfall. We'll isolate this the past 12 hours. So it's still raining, but just a quick glance. 2.4 around Ringgold. That matches up with what we saw there. Northern parts of Walker, about 1.5 inches. And back here for Marion, about 2. So these are slow movers and big-time soakers. All right, next map I'm going to show you is the local storm reports. Any wind damage locally so far? I think we've only had very few reports. Yeah, that was north. This is in the line of storms from 7:30 to 9:30 this evening over Meigs and parts of Ray County. I think there's a tree down over the road here. Yeah, that was in Peakland in Meigs County off Tennessee Highway 304. That was around just shortly before 8 o'clock this evening. And then just south of 10 Mile, this storm report was hail just about the size of a quarter in that part of Meigs County. So there you go. Just keeping you updated on what's been happening out there. So that gives you the overview of the viewing area at the current time. The brown shaded polygons are advisories, storm advisories, which is a little bit below a severe thunderstorm warning. Okay. Then you got the individual warnings. This one out for Catoosa and Whitfield out to the bottom of the half hour. And you got a severe thunderstorm warning here hidden under the lightning over western Jackson. And this red box here is a flash flood warning out for Jackson back into Madison County over near Huntsville. So basically Scottsboro, a little east of Scottsboro to about Huntsville under a flash flood warning. Again, this is just a large, oozing area of rain and lightning. And again, that, we noted that was moving northeast. That's where this polygon goes to the storm advisory headed towards Saudi Daisy. So just that line of storms there coming north of the city, right under Red Bank. So Red Bank up to Saudi Daisy, Haven, the Harrison area. To now 1 a.m. could have wind gusts up to 50 and very heavy rain. And that is moving northeast at 15. It's kind of spreading out in all directions there. Let's look at some of the comments here. Dina says, very bad wind in Fort O. You got several of those lines coming through. Thank you. Stay safe there, Dina. Amanda, no, it's not going to last all night. For the next couple of hours, it is. But I would say beyond 2, 3 a.m., a lot of this will be moving out pretty quickly. Okay? So not all night. But for a little while longer, it's going to keep you up late. All right, there's another advisory here with this line. This line right here near Trenton. All right, so for you folks across northern Walker, Catoosa, you just got rid of one bad cell and another one. Well, you got another line coming in. And between now and around 12:30, wind gusts of 40 to 50. That's going to be east at 10. So be aware of very heavy rain with that as well. Super saturating the ground. These are really noisy out there. Okay. Let's check some of the wind on the velocity scan. We'll take a peek inside the storms. You can see, if we zoom in just a little bit, right there around Fort Oglethorpe, where Dina had a comment about those winds. Some of those, we see that bright red. And I'll show you right here. That's where some of those gusts are a little bit strong right there. Pockets are bright red right there, right near the 2475 split and right down just near Fort Oglethorpe. So some strong wind gusts right on the leading edge of that next batch of storms coming in. So you're going to have that with the wind. I could easily bring down a tree limb, a tree, and with the ground saturated, it may push it down more easily. And there's that storm just sitting over Ringgold We notice the hail core in that was coming down a bit. We hope it continues to further weaken. But notice how the outflow from that, watch the direction of movement. See a little outflow right there, pushing that little core right there. That's approaching Cleveland. That's coming your way. Some what we call South Cleveland bypass right there coming in. So heavy rain, lightning moving that direction. Okay, we've had the rain here kind of slack off for a bit, and that's a good thing. You can see this whole cluster of storms here near Huntsville. Watch the move. These are kind of pushing more, that core there moving more east-southeast. These are kind of, that's what happened on Monday night. They start spreading out. So these are moving more east. And these here into the city are moving more northeast. So it's kind of fanning out a bit. A lot of times it'll do that when these lines start to weaken a bit. The tops of the storms come down and it just kind of spreads out in all directions. So hopeful that trend will continue, at least from a weakening point of view, but not yet. These are still pretty strong and pretty noisy from at least from a rain and lightning point of view, and even some strong gusts. Let me check some of the power outages here. Get an update. All right, I'll share this map over to you. Okay, that was a TDOT cam. So this is just from the EPB map point of view. Power outages are up just a bit, 472 without. You can see a cluster there, Rossville, Fort Oglethorpe area, and just a little bit over Hamilton County. But right along the state line is south, where it's kind of picking up just a bit. So that's where things stand at the moment. Look at the TDOT camera here. Yeah, most of those traffic's moving, so nothing showing up on the TDOT cam that looks too terrible, which is good. We'll take that. You can see more heavy rain showing up. Notice the trend here. If you draw this line, I'll draw this line right here. That line of storms right there. That's how all these are trending in that spreading out direction, moving northeast. Same thing right here. Start to see that northeast movement there a bit. These still moving. Let's see, these are kind of moving more east. And those a slight trend northeast. So you got heavy downpours of lightning, though none of this is severe. Tracy City, Colmont, Altamont. And heads up, Dunlap, you got some lightning, heavy downpours of rain coming your way. Same thing, Red Bank up 27 to Saudi Daisy. Straddling the mountain there from Signal to Walden. Moving its way up the ridge just a bit. Might have a little bit of hail there around 153. Corridor J area. Right where you see that brighter purple pink. At the very least, some very heavy rain. That might have a little bit of hail with it where it's reflecting back. Heavy downpours. Harrison headed to Snow Hill. Ottawa, you're in between those rounds. One kind of moving about to your east and one just to your west. Same thing East Brainerd. Lightning, heavy downpours of rain. Same thing in Ringgold. That thing is just sitting there, and then look what happens. You had in Ringgold, you had the cell here and another cell right here come merge with it. So it's just bringing more rain from Boynton up to Ringgold. So getting to a flood-prone area. Stay safe there. Same thing toward Fort Oglethorpe. All up and down 2A. It's just bad right now. A lot of lightning, rain. This warning expires in 5 minutes. We'll see if they reduce it to an advisory or if they keep the warning in place. Let's take a look at the wind in there. Yeah, that's still pretty nasty in there. In this case, you're looking at where it's moving away from the radar, the high top radar. So you're looking at more bright green. There's some stronger gusts coming in there just to loop it a couple of times. So there are some strong gusts accompanying that. Again, we did note the hail that was happening there between nickel and quarter size. And if you go west of there, just a lot more from Chattanooga Valley area, Flintstone. That's down 193. Then 157 on the mountain. Just noisy lightning. Claps of thunder from Fort Oglethorpe to Ringgold up to East Ridge. Again, all these here, not severe cells, but over near Lakeside, Soddy Daisy, up to Dunlap, very noisy. Same thing just south of Cleveland. That's coming your way in Cleveland. Get ready for downpours and loud claps of thunder. Again, no warning with that, but you could have some wind gusts upwards of 40 to 50 on that leading edge. And there's an overview of the entire viewing area at the time. Okay, this warning here just issued for Fort Payne and Geraldine in DeKalb County. That is for that line coming in out of Jackson County. So just a moment ago, actually just like a second ago, this severe thunderstorm warning out for southern DeKalb County and northeast Marshall County in northeast Alabama. Storms near Geraldine are just east of Gunnersville, moving east at 40. Expect 60-mile-an-hour gust and nickel-size hail. So areas impacted: Fort Payne, Rainsville, Crossville, Fife, Geraldine, Pine Ridge, and Guest, the Guest community there in DeKalb County. And then just north of there. So there are two warnings now over DeKalb County. This one we just talked about. Now we got this one on the central northern end for the same line of storms coming in. So this just issued a moment ago. We know the time, computer. Thank you. So this one just issued as well. Severe thunderstorm warning for southeastern Jackson and east central DeKalb County till 12:30 central. That's 1:30 eastern. Storm over section or just near Scottsboro, moving east at 10. Could have 60-mile-an-hour wind gust and nickel-size hail. So these are moving east at 10. Was this in the same speed? Well, that storm's moving east at 40, but that's a different cell. See, there's a line of storms right here. This storm cell moving a little bit faster than this one. But still, heads up for you folks in Chattooga and Walker County. During the 1 o'clock Eastern time hour, that's when that line is going to be moving your way. Okay? Moving off to the east. Again, this strong storm continues near Ringgold. That warning out till 12:30 Eastern. Still, tremendous amount of lightning, heavy downpours of rain, concerns about a flash flooding threat with so much heavy rain during the past hour. And again, note how that outflow from that and others is causing a line of storms lifting north and east. So Dunlap, heavy downpours of rain and lightning. Soddy Daisy, lightning coming your way from up 27 over around Lakeside. Your Ottawa kind of splits around Ottawa, but rain, lightning here up to the Cleveland bypass, about to cross 64 and head into downtown Cleveland. So it's interesting watching all of this activity in Alabama. This is starting to move more in a east-southeast direction. This is more east. And this is more northeast. So it's kind of spreading out just a little bit. We'll check some of the tops of those storms. That tells us, it gives us an idea of what's happening inside the storms. that one near Ringgold and Fort Oglethorpe continues to intensify. The top on that storm is about 50,000 feet. So that cell near Ringgold that we keep noticing it persisting. And that thing is not moving. Let me get an estimate over the past hour with rainfall. Yeah. Yeah, easily in and around Ringgold, 2.5 inches, very common over the past hour. Still raining, 2.5 inches around Fort Oglethorpe, about 1.5 inches. So this area right in here, be aware of excessive runoff and be aware of flash flooding. Right in here. And that's had 1 to 2 inches of rain. And probably around Ringgold, 2 to 2.5. So now again, I put the advisories back on there. I have a feeling they'll probably have an advisory here at some point with this cell. So the severe thunderstorm warning just ended. You've got these advisories here from parts of Grundy, parts of Hamilton, and then parts of Bradley. These are all with storms moving northeast, a little bit different from the movement of this storm. Okay. So again, this one moving towards Cleveland, which is over South Cleveland now, that could have gust up to 50. Heavy rain, lots of lightning between now and 1:15. So I'd be moving over Cleveland between now and 1 a.m. And then the 2 warnings over to Cobb County, parts of Jackson County also. We'll focus on this one, the northern end one, from Ida, right between Ida and Fort Payne. That's out to 1:30 Eastern, 12:30 Central. Again, wind gusts up to 60, nickel-sized hail possible. Then just south of there, from Fort Payne southward to around Collinsville, Geraldine area, that is a severe thunderstorm warning out till 1:30 Eastern, 12:30 Central. Likewise, 60-mile-an-hour gusts, nickel-sized hail, though the storm itself is moving a little bit faster coming out of Marshall County. I had some folks ask about Chatsworth, okay? You're hearing the thunder in the distance there in Chatsworth. It's calm now, but we'll see how much of this holds together and moves to the east. It's a very slow mover, but if you're seeing lightning, it's coming from this 50,000-foot top on this storm here near Ringgold and moving gradually east and slightly northeast. So I have to see how much that holds together if it reaches Chatsworth. And that's a huge top on that storm. Yeah, we had downpours on the northern edge of Grundy and the northwestern Sequatchie County on the plateau. Not severe, but also lightning. Same thing near Dunlap, a little bit noisy. Soddy Daisy, heavy rain over to Snow Hill. Heavy downpour splitting Ooltewah to the west and east side. And there's the heavy rain and lightning on the south side of Cleveland, approaching Cleveland, moving off to the northeast. Daryl just says having a toad strangler in Fort Oglethorpe. Yeah, indeed. If you get those rainfall rates are 1.5 to 2.5 inches there, with the heaviest right over Ringgold. Look at that. They just continued that warning. It's not a surprise. So for Catoosa and northwestern Whitfield, they're continuing. They just now extended that severe thunderstorm warning out until 1:15 Eastern time. The storm over Ringgold moving east at 10. Again, 60-mile-an-hour gust and nickel-sized hail. But the other side of the equation there is watch out for flash flooding. Comments here. Angela, can you please tell us about our area? Where are you? Rossville. Well, you're in this line of storms we've been talking about here, this line that goes back from the city, Fort Oglethorpe, back to Rossville right here. You got more heavy rain coming in. So you're kind of like Ringgold, very heavy rain, lots of lightning. You're not under a warning, but do be aware if you live in a flood-prone area. Be aware of that. Be aware of the lightning risk. Just stay inside till it passes on by. Trying to cover everybody. It gets hard when there's a lot of stuff going on. So I don't mean to leave anybody out, okay? But we have to stay focused on where the worst activity is. All right, speaking of Rossville, here you go. I just mentioned it, flash flood warning now. There you go. Flash flood running until 4:30 Eastern time. Catoosa, Dade, and Walker. So we estimated around Ringgold, 2.5 inches of rain had fallen in this storm. But for Catoosa, northeastern Dade, north central Walker, radar estimates between 2.5 inches of rain has already fallen. We mentioned that. An additional rain of up to 1 to 2 inches still possible in the warned area. So this could mean some parts of Dade, Walker in this area could have upwards of 3 to 4 inches of rain before everything's said and done. So be aware of flash flooding in those areas. Again, that's for all of Catoosa, northeastern Dade, and north central Walker. That is a flash flood warning out till 4:30 Eastern time. And again, we've seen from a radar estimate upwards of 2.5 inches of rain here near Ringgold, about 1 to 2 in the Fort Oglethorpe back to Rossville area, that far northeastern corner of Dade. And still just south of that warning area, Chickamauga, over around Flintstone, over to Trenton. Heavy rain continues there. So again, anyone in the flood-prone area, please be aware of this. I'm going to let that roll for just a second. Let the producers know about this. I may want to do a check to Sioux County, especially around that proper complex that tracks all the time. Last one going out is late. Okay. I'll go back to street.
Just what's the it's Austin apartments you're talking about?
That area tends to get, I can't remember the creek or street that's nearby. We need to be aware of that. Just kind of check on that and see if anything's happening. Yeah, it's at all of Catoosa and northern Walker under that flash flood warning. They've already had about 1.5 to 2 inches of rain, about an hour's time.
Okay.
All right, just letting the producing staff, new staff, know about that flooding situation there in Catoosa and Walker, and we'll keep an eye on that. About any reports, and let me know in your comments here about any reports you're seeing there from any flooding issues. Certainly hope there's not, but that's going to be a big concern right now. Labrisca, yeah, that risk, tornado risk is really low with this. These are extremely noisy, I know, and very heavy rain. And we got some warnings out for strong wind gusts, but that threat is low. These are more of downburst wind, lightning, and a flash flooding risk right now. But the overall tornado risk remains on the low side. We certainly hope it stays that way. Okay, but I know everyone always asks that question. I get it. But with it being this loud, what's shaking the house, though, is the loud claps of thunder. But this area from Ringgold, Fort Oglethorpe, Boynton area, live in any low areas. This area has been inundated with rain. And before everything's said and done, many spots can end up with between 3 and 4 inches of rain in a short period of time, about an hour or two's time. So that could cause flash flooding. And we know a lot of spots there that have had flooding before. That area off off Fant Drive. Is that it? Yeah, off Fant Drive. That's not far from across from the Walmart grocery store that's there in Fort Oglethorpe. They've had flooding issues in that area before, so I know that always prone for that. So we're hopeful that that's not repeating itself there as far as flooding. Again, here are a couple of advisories on these storms crossing Dade and northern Walker. Again, they're staying below severe levels as far as the severe thunderstorm warning. but still could have wind gusts of 40 to 50, cloud around lightning, even a little bit of small hail with it. And again, this new warning, we showed you the warning that was out before till 12:30. This one's out to 1:15 Eastern time. And again, there's a couple of reasons. One, strong wind gusts could occur with it, along with some nickel-size hail, but tremendous amount of lightning. And of course, the ongoing flash flooding threat. So that severe thunderstorm warning out there, which includes parts of Whitfield, the northwestern part, and all of Catoosa out to 1:15 Eastern, about the next 35 minutes. And then you've got flash flood warning out for northern Walker, northern Catoosa out to 4:30 Eastern time. That includes Fort Oglethorpe, the Indian Springs area, Rossville, and Ringgold, all under that flash flood warning. Yeah, I believe, those are scrolling on our screen there. If you're watching on television, they're streaming on there. All right, Hannah says flooding on South Cedar in Fort Oglethorpe. Thank you for that, Hannah. We certainly hope that does not get worse, but that's a big concern right now. Carrie says thunder, lightning, and wind horrible in Ringgold. Yeah, this is a bad storm. Let's take a look at the wind inside that. Oh yeah, you see how strong gust? That thing is just sitting there. Look at these strong gusts picking up there south of Ringgold. Yep, easily 30, 40 mile an hour gusts just above the surface there, but that could be a lot of times in storms like this. You could have downburst winds with that. But look at all that lightning. Let's go back and get a rainfall estimate here. That's a local storm report. So I want to look at the rainfall. Now, keep in mind, it's still raining, okay? And these radar estimates update every hour. So they're going to be lagging just a little bit. But let's take a look at that. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Let's see if that's an accurate reading. Triangulate that. 3.93. 2.5, so roughly around the 3-inch mark around Ringgold. Heavily concentrated right in there in Ringgold. And it kind of drops off dramatically. So it's really over a short area, but still that's troubling. Back here to Fort Oglethorpe. Close to 2. Northern Walker near Rossville, close to 2. So a lot of this is past 12 hours, but trust me, this is over the past hour and a half with that storm coming in. But look at that one more time. This right here. This is in that 3-inch range. Here's Ottawa Ringgold Road right here. Here's Ringgold. And there's 2A going back down Battlefield Parkway till you come into Ringgold. So yeah, this is on or just over that 3-inch mark. And there you see in and around Ringgold, very heavy rain, lots of lightning there. Continues. That storm is just not moving. So that rain continues to come down. It's already reached the 3-inch mark and it's still raining. So and this is where that flash flood warning is out from Ringgold to Rossville, Fort Oglethorpe out till 4:30 Eastern time. And it makes it worse hearing all that claps of thunder. And the tops on that storm is it was building up to 50,000 feet. So again, this one, I'm sorry to keep moving that back and forth. This warning continues and extends all the way into northwestern Whitfield. That's out till 1:15 Eastern time. 60-mile-an-hour gusts from the nickel-sized hail and the very heavy rainfall with that. Let's go north a bit. Get around Cleveland, very heavy rain and lightning. Again, these polygons are not severe polygons, but they are indicating some wind gusts of 40 to 50. I can see right there south of Cleveland, there might be some hail with that right there where it's bright purple shading. So be aware of that to South Cleveland. Snow Hill, heavy downpours of rain, lightning. Same thing to Saudi Daisy, back near Dunlap. And not so bad the farther west you go. Things improve there. And so we got these two warnings out for DeKalb County, putting on a light show. This is out to about the next 45 minutes. Both of them out till 12:30 Central, 1:30 Eastern for both central and southern parts of DeKalb County. Two separate cells causing that. And holding it on this area where we're just having rain just sitting there. Back over the power outage situation. Yeah, look at the EPB map, about 992 customers affected right now. So that's just on the EPB customer map. Again, our storm cams here. This is a storm cam. I'll show you this because it's showing a lot of lightning with it. Showed this earlier. This is from Memorial Hospital, looking back to the south. Everybody on the comments should talk about all the lightning you see around Ringgold area and the area south of the state line. That's showing it as you look down to the south of Walker County. That's looking along Glenwood to Dodds Avenue and farther south. As you can see the strobing going on with the lightning there. Very intense storm. Then we're going to look at the hail tracker again. See if that hail core has moved any. Oh, look at it. It's in the same spot. Look at that. Look at this over the past hour. It's kind of been hovering in this area from Burning Bush to Boynton to Ringgold. This is hail. Okay. This is over the past hour. I mean, that storm just continues to back build and just sit there. See, that's just over an inch diameter. So you're looking at over a quarter size. Same thing there. Not quite as bad near Tunnel Hill, but still, it's just this whole area. Let's look at the past. I'm going to make it go backwards here. But look at the timeline where it built up, down a bit, and then just continues to build. This is when it was really large about an hour ago near Ringgold. And then you go into the past hour, it's kind of fluctuated a bit. Goodness gracious. I think it's not moving. I'll take the warning off and the lightning just so you can see the storm itself. I'm going to take the advisories off for a second. Look at this. You can see where the the hail is. You see the purple, that's high reflectivity. Okay, so that's hail right there. But all of this, the rest of this is very heavy rain. Just look over the past hour. This is not moved. This is not moved. It's kind of oozed around a little bit, but it just still sits there. So the rainfall rate in there was like 4 inches per hour. That's about 4 inches per hour. So you can see where the hail is right there. Sorry, I didn't have this blown up on the screen. I forgot I had that other thing on there, but you can see right in here, this is where the hail's happening still at this time. Again, just show you what the warnings are without the radar on there. Just shows you how things are lit up. The dark red is that flash flood warning, and the bright yellow is the severe thunderstorm warning. Again, just to remind you, that flash flood warning out for Catoosa, Dade, Walker out till 4:30 Eastern. That's for Catoosa, northeastern Dade, north central Walker County. Again, the rest of this across the state line, it's amazing how north of the state line, it's not so bad. From the state line, almost immediately at the state line is where it's a lot worse. And it just sits there. Right in here. Starting to spread out to the south just a little bit more rather quickly. Just comes off Lookout and down in the central southern Walker. It's more heavy rain more than anything. But we need this thing. We need this to end here. Stop that rain threat. Notice again, you got movement south, barely east, and all this is more northeast. So it's spreading out. See, Eric says, watching the show from Rocky Face. It's not far from me either, there in Rocky Face. Stay safe. Mallory says it's hailing at her house in Ringgold. Thank you, Mallory. Stay safe there. Tina, I agree. She says, I hope Ringgold isn't flooding, and I agree. We don't need that, but that's a lot of rain. I'm very concerned about that right now. Cerise says, I'm feeling that red and purple here. I bet. That's, it's quite a bit of hail. Brandy says winter battle on 41 in Ringgold. Amanda says power is out by Ringgold High School. Lights flickering at Boynton Ringgold. I'm sure they are with all that lightning going on. And Stephanie says East Long Hollow Road and Peavine won't stop raining. Yeah, it won't. It's just won't stop. Look at this. And what's worse is there's more coming, although we're starting to see more of a southeast trend with that, but still, that could still move some more heavy rain back in that part of Catoosa. Either way, the drainage streams and creeks and branches there are going to be heavily stressed with all this rain coming in. You folks in Cleveland, it's loud out there. But so far, these are staying below severe levels. You got two advisories here. These mean you could have wind gusts of 40 to 50 as this moves north and east all the way to Soddy Daisy. So it's moving in the northeast direction. But for the most part, it's very loud with the claps of thunder and lightning and very heavy rain with it. Might have a little bit of hail, but the winds are staying just below severe parameters. But again, it's a strong storm. Stay inside. Let it pass by. But we tend to be still focused on this one near Ringgold, with that very heavy rain and flash flooding potential. Gerald says very heavy rain, lightning, and high winds near Graysville Elementary. Tanya says power outage at 3 Notch Road. Madison says near Deadman Road in Ringgold, strong wind, loud thunder. Yep. Here again is the wind gust with that. You see that little burst of bright green. That's when the winds are a bit stronger. So pretty nasty storm right along 41. All right, now we have a new severe thunderstorm warning for Chattooga in southern Walker. And it's coming off this line right here that's coming out of DeKalb County. Okay, so if your alert just went off for Walker, it's loud north Walker, but this is for one over Alabama that's going to cross Highway 11, Highway 59, go into Walker, into Chattooga in the far southern part of Dade. So just issued this severe thunderstorm warning out for Chattooga, Dade, and Walker out to 1:30 Eastern time. Storm near Hammondville or just north of Fort Payne, moving east at 35. Again, wind gusts of 60 and nickel-sized hail possible with that storm. Kevin says marble-sized hail on I-75 Battlefield Parkway area. Thank you for that, Kevin. Yeah, that's a new severe thunderstorm warning here for specifically southwestern Walker, southwestern Dade, northern Chattooga, out till 1:30 Eastern. Again, these two warnings out for DeKalb County, out till 1:30 Eastern, 12:30 Central. And that's about to approach the state line, which is right here. That's what prompted this warning here. Actually, you've got storms coming in from the north and from the east there. Dropping pretty quickly over southern parts of Walker. Let's take a tour around. Again, the farther north you go, it's not so bad, but there are storms moving north. This line that stretches from, let me draw it for you, right here. Well, get the right telestrator right here. See, that's lifting northeast. Some of it from the outflow of that storm near Ringgold on the north side. So Cleveland, you got heavy rain, lightning, goes back to Soddy Daisy. Though not severe, very loud. Don't want to leave y'all out, but that's where it is right there. Or Snow Hill, Soddy Daisy, Seal Creek. So I have a little bit of hail with that, where it's high reflectivity there near Cleveland. See that advisory there in Cleveland, up around Calhoun, out to 1:45 Eastern at the next 45 minutes. Could have 50-mile-an-hour gust. And again, heavy rain and lightning. From Soddy Daisy, Cleveland, Benton, Lakeside, Charleston, Calhoun, Hopewell. And again, we continue to watch this area in Ringgold. Stop raining. That's what we want it to do. But Indian Springs, Ringgold, Tunnel Hill, Varnell. Next 15 minutes, that severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect. Gusts up to 60. Of course, tremendous light show, heavy downpours of rain, and that consistent flooding threat we're worried about. And right there alongside it, from Ringgold, Rossville, Fort Oglethorpe. Oh, we don't want to know the time. I don't know why it does that. You turn that feature off. There we go. There's that flash flood warning out until 4:30 Eastern. We noted on the radar estimate that was upwards of about 3 inches of rain or over that in and around Ringgold, and it's still raining. And then toward Fort Oglethorpe, Rossville is up around the 2-inch range, still raining. So it's putting the storm drains stressed out quite a bit from this. Well, again, the streams, the creeks all around there are going to be rising quite a bit, quite rapidly. In between these areas, it's just very loud. Lafayette, Kensington, Trenton, Chickamauga, but there are warnings on either side of you. Though again, Not a warning, but still a bad storm. Just stay inside until this thing passes on by. And again, that new warning here for Chattooga, far southern Dade, and southern Walker out to 1:30 Eastern time. I mean, you can almost see two different directions here. This stuff moving this way, and this activity starting to push more to the south. And that, I mean, it's a slow east movement, but it's barely moving over Catoosa. All right, here's a rainfall update around Ringgold. Look at this. Okay, that orange, 4 inches. Five. All right, let's see where that's located. That's right around Ooltewah Ringgold Road, Carpenter Road. So all this area in orange and red has had anywhere between 4 and almost 5 inches of rain, at least from a radar estimate. Okay. So here's Boynton Drive. Here's Battlefield Parkway. Here's 41. Here's downtown Ringgold right here. And then you go from Ooltewah Ringgold Road north. This is where it's been extremely heavy, right there. 4 to 5 inches of rain. And the yellow in and around that, 3 to 4. Yeah, that matches up well with like another radar screen here. All right, let's continue looking at these storms here in Walker through Chattooga. As you got storms coming in from two different directions, around Lafayette, and then coming out of northeast Alabama. Yeah, you can see some strong winds there northwest of Lafayette, right in here. So you just extend that warning there. I think that was an advisory up underneath that. Let me see if there's an extension of that. No, that's the same warning. Yeah, very strong wind gusts in around Kensington with that bright red there. Ringgold, it looks to be not quite as strong, but in around Kensington right here, loop this. You can see the burst of wind coming down as that moves from northwest to the southeast. Let's look at the gust along 59 with that line of storms coming in. Yeah, you see a lot of that. Tremendous amount of wind here, right along and just west of 59, right here. Appears to be straight line. So in this part of Walker County, you got these storms coming down from the north a bit, and that line coming in from the east. So it's going to be a convergence here near Somerville, Tryon area. Get ready for heavy rain coming in from the west and even from the north as well. The strongest gust will probably come in from the west, coming from Menlo, Cloudland area. Very similar to what we had Monday night in that area. Let's go back and look at the hail situation again. I'll take out some layers. So you got some pockets of hail. Looks to be smaller, but still pockets of hail now east of Ringgold. Pockets of hail along the Catoosa-Whitfield line and around Lafayette up to Kensington. Some pockets of hail there. Look to be a little stronger over northeast Alabama. Looks to be dropping now more to the south a bit. And even around Cleveland, we noted higher reflectivity. There was a brief little period there, but hail got up there, northeast Cleveland. So this is what we're looking at, hail right there. Pocket of hail there near Sail Creek. But again, we've had hail for about an hour in and around Ringgold. Still occurring, though. It seems to be smaller and a little more sporadic, not quite as widespread as it once was. Let's hope that's improved. Now we're just going to look at the radar point of view from radar reflectivity. Still raining in Ringgold, though the intensity coming down just a bit. Even a light rain is going to make it worse. But it does appear that the heaviest rain might be trending just a little bit now to the east, toward Tunnel Hill, Varnell. And where you see that purple shading, that's where those pockets of hail were. That also indicates where that strongest updraft was and where some of the stronger gusts could be reaching the surface. But it looks like just easing a bit, just easing Fort Oglethorpe, but now heavy rain has shifted south toward Chickamauga. Heavy rain now from Lafayette, eastward to Villanelle. And pockets, you can see that deep red. There were some pockets of hail through here, but that'll be a little bit of hail accompanying the heavy downpours. And again, very heavy rain. Again, a few pockets where it's dark. High reflectivity here from Cleveland to Calhoun, headed toward the county line with McMinn, county line with Meigs, county line with Ray. These are below severe levels, but heavy downpours of rain and a few advisories along that line. You can see right there. And still that light show continues around Ringgold. Doesn't seem to be as concentrated, the lightning, but goodness. And now it's kind of branching out with more lightning going on across the rest of Walker County. And all that lightning coming in out of DeKalb County. And just to show you all that red, these are all flood warnings here. Flash flood warning, Scottsboro down to Fort Payne. And then that same thing up here, Rossville, Ringgold, Fort Oglethorpe, all under a flash flood warning as well. Thunder kicking back up in Ringgold, says Madison. Yeah, there's still quite a bit. Yeah, Labriska, that's what the radar showed. 4 to 5 inches of rain has been possible. That's a radar estimate. Some of that could be some reflectivity skewed a bit by some of the hail, but based on the trends, 3 to 4 easily, but some of that could have been a lot more. So that's what we're worried about with flash flooding that area of Ringgold. Mallory says a small stream in her front yard. Hope it didn't get any worse. Cerise says finally calming down in Boynton Ringgold. That's good. That's good to hear. Daryl says finally calming down to Fort Oglethorpe. That's also good to hear. JC said it's like a Twilight Zone episode in Ringgold. I gotcha. Just keeps going on and on and on. Kayla says calming down a bit in downtown Ringgold. That's good. Brittany says near Lake Winnie, super flashy, but not much wind. I like that description. I call it strobing, but super flashy works also. Nikki says Lafayette getting hammered. Yeah, it's loud in Lafayette right now. Heavy rain, lightning. There it is. Yeah, it looks like the heavy rain trying to trend away from Ringgold. We certainly want it to stop. Even light rain is just going to make things worse. Again, for you folks, I'm just concerned that we know we've seen this before the past couple of weeks. We've seen flash flooding occur in that part of Catoosa County, especially around Fort Oglethorpe. So we're concerned about that. Indian Springs, Ringgold, Rossville, Fort Oglethorpe, that flash flood running out to 4:30. All right, now we've got this advisory here. It's for this area that's right in between these two severe thunderstorm warnings right here. So this is again, one of these special weather statements. There's that time again. I didn't get the clock feature off there. That's just silly. Here we go. All right. Special weather statement. And this is no surprise based on the radar trends here. But this is for specifically Catoosa, Central Whitfield, Walker, and Dade. Storm near Lafayette moving east at 15. 40 to 50 mile an hour wind gusts, even some penny-sized hail. So areas like Dalton, Lafayette, Ringgold, Trenton, Fort Oglethorpe, Farnell, Lookout Mountain, Chickamauga, Blue Spring, Chattanooga Valley, between now and 1:45 Eastern, heavy rain, lightning is going to continue in that area. And again, this warning expires in about 3 minutes over Whitfield and Catoosa. This warning for Southern Walker and Chattooga, it's just now getting in there. The storm's crossing the state line. But you're in that warning out to 1:30. It's probably going to take a little bit longer than that. But I do believe the warning will probably end at the expiration time over DeKalb County. Both of these are out to the bottom of the half hour. I believe by that time, both will have expired and moved into Georgia. Notice again, north. I don't mean to leave anybody out like Athens and Dunlap areas, but, these are moving northeast, but they're very noisy. You got some strong wind gusts with it, heavy rain and lightning, but a lot of these areas farther north and west up along the plateau, yes, you're good right now. Not too bad. There's individual cells. This one right here, prompting a little advisory. Let's take a look at that. That's over near Whitwell. That'll be crossing over Signal and into Hamilton County. But again, that one could produce gusts. Is it still in the 40, 50 range? Yeah, up to 50. And moving east at 30. Fast mover. And there you can see the bright red. Those are gusts 30 to 40 approaching Whitwell. A strong gust accompanying that, along with the downpours and a lot of lightning. And look at the velocity along this line. A few pockets of the bright red, though not quite as pronounced. A little bit of that near Sail Creek. You see that? Most of these are saying just below severe levels. That's good. Let's go back into Walker County where the gusts were really strong with this around Lafayette. Yep, still. See it? Stronger gusts right there. Nosing down south of Chickamauga, south of Rock Spring, Lafayette. Bringing this way south and east. So gusty winds there on the western edge of Lafayette, over near the Pigeon Mountain area, where it comes off the mountain toward Lafayette. And we'll check here where that line is. It's crossing the state line now. Oh, yeah. Kind of a serpentine kind of shape, but you can see it right there. It's a strong, bright red gust here entering Chattooga County. That's coming off Lookout Mountain. So Cloudland, Menlo, Georgia, headed towards Somerville and Tryon. Get ready for some strong gusts accompanying the rain. That's why you're under that severe thunderstorm warning. Farther south in Chattooga, there's another warning here that encompasses southern Chattooga and Floyd County. For folks in Rome, over to Murchie and Lyerly, this just issued a severe thunderstorm warning for specifically Floyd and southwestern Chattooga out to 2 a.m. Eastern time. That storm near Cedar Bluff moving east at 35, right near the Weiss Lake area. So Chattooga, you got a warning on the north and south end, all for that same line coming in. And there's that advisory for Walker County, where that storm is kind of stationary, but kind of a slight drift to the east and southeast just a bit. If you folks in Ringgold, good news. The rain is a lot lighter. The warning has expired. Thank you. That's the severe thunderstorm warning. However, you can see the full outline of this flash flood warning, which really concerns me. That's out to 4:30. And let's back up a second and show you some of the rain here. So if we're looking at just the yellow, this is all up and down Battlefield Parkway. When you get to where it borders the orange, that's 2.5 to almost 3 inches. Okay. So that's from Battlefield Parkway, from Fort Oglethorpe to Ringgold, 2 to around 3 inches of rain. Okay. And then this is an estimate. Now, again, I mentioned the word that it's skewed a bit. It could be sometimes the radar estimates rainfall, maybe incorporating some of the hail. So we have to kind of be mindful of that and be really want to look at real rain gauges as opposed to what the radar shows. But still, between 4.5, 4.2, and 5.2 is possible. The warning for the flash flood warning estimated between 2 and 4 by the time the rain stopped. So we'll have to see if that 5 is actually a number or if it's from reflectivity off the hail. But either way, it's been a lot of rain in a very short period of time. Most is falling in about under 2 hours. So that's a problem, and that concerns me about flash flooding. And simple fact that we had flash flooding there in Ringgold a couple of weeks ago. No, Megan, that's not a hurricane. It looks like it. It looks like the eye wall. I get it. No, we're looking at radar estimated rainfall. Yeah, that's what we're looking at. It's like the Cyclops. Up here where it's been raining so far, just kind of give you an idea. Snow Hill over to Cleveland, these amounts are just peaking out over 1 inch. So watch for ponding on roadways. If you look at the whole viewing area, it's that part of Catoosa that has had the worst amount of rain. I'd say the next worst is here over Jackson County. These pockets of yellow, 2.5 to 3. And these are just near 2 or just over 2, about 1.5 inches. You go a few miles away from the very heavy rain cores, not much at all. But it's that area there near Ringgold has had the worst. And north of the city, this is with the round of storms that we had between 7 and 9 p.m. earlier in the evening. So these dropped close to 2. Yeah. But that one, I'd be interested if someone has a rain gauge, a digital one. I don't want you going outside and, emptying the one you have out there because the lightning risk. If you have a digital one, you're near Ringgold, let me know what your gauge has. Because these are in the 3 to 4 inch range. That red bullseye there is up around 5. I'd like to see about the accuracy of that. So that's why that area in red flash flood warning in effect. But again, I'm going to take out some of these layers so you see the rain. Yeah. Okay. So the rain is easing away from Ringgold, finally. However, creeping down 41. That's your rocky face. See that purple? I bet that's some hail right there. Rolling 41 over to Rocky Face. Tunnel Hill, Rocky Face area. Let's take a look at it. Oh, yeah. So right there, Tunnel Hill to Dalton, quarter size hail. So we're just looking at rainfall at this point. I've taken the warnings off and the lightning, just so you can see the rain a little bit better. So it is easing in Ringgold, finally. Easing in Fort Oglethorpe. That's good. Hadn't stopped, but at least it's easing. Again, there's a hail right there near Tunnel Hill. Heavy rain, Lafayette to Villanelle, Kensington. And right along the state line, moving into Menlo, Tryon, Somerville. Easing in Fort Payne just a little bit. And pockets kind of easing a bit around the city, not quite as bad. Now let's put the lightning back on there because that's making it noisy. I want to take the advisories. I'm going to leave just warnings up so we can just see a little bit better. And no surprise here. We just spotted that hail. Like clockwork. We saw that hail core. New severe thunderstorm warning for Catoosa, Murray, and Whitfield. And that storm that's located over Rocky Face, we just talked about, in near Ringgold, moving east at 20. Could have nickel-sized hail and 60-mile-an-hour gusts. So right where we saw that hail core, that's the storm that's prompted a new warning now for specifically east central Catoosa, Murray, Whitfield till 2 a.m. That storm moving east at 20. Let's put a tracker on that storm for you. That's coming right over Dalton right now. So a little estimated time of arrival. Prater Mill, our 131. Chatsworth, just before 2 a.m. Ramhurst, just southeast of Chatsworth, around 2:02. Okay, so that kind of gives you from Prater Mill, Chatsworth, Ramhurst. This is what we call jokingly the bacon tracker because it looks like strips of bacon. But that's the movement over the next hour, basically in 10-minute increments. Okay. So the worst of the storm is right there in a Rocky Face where some hail noted on there, moving off to the east. Nikki says hail in Lafayette again. Destiny says power just flickered in Somerville. Polly, I agree. Polly says it needs to hurry up and go. I agree. I'm just glad the rain's easing in those areas where the flooding was bad. Poor Ringgold. That's lasted forever. So Vicky says, live off Burning Bush Road, almost center of Chickamauga, Fort Oglethorpe, and Ringgold, right in between. Seems as if it's coming back again with the lightning. Yeah, the thing is, where you are in the Burning Bush area, and that's a beautiful area there in the countryside. You're right here, so you got lightning all around you. So it's just why you hear it. A lot of it though is trending away, but it's hard to tell that because it's dark outside. It's just flashing all over the place. But if you look at the motion here, there's a slight motion now to the east and southeast just a little bit. So if you're right here near the Burning Bush area, it's all around you, but the worst is kind of moving to the east just a bit. All right, you go northwest of the city, not quite as bad. There's several advisories out there. I'll put the beige advisories up there. They're all over the place. But where you see the warnings in orange, all right, these are where the severe thunderstorm warnings are in effect. Okay. The beige outlines are thunderstorm advisories. So, and I'll go over these in a minute. These near Cleveland and near Saudi Daisy Sail Creek are strong, but below severe levels. The strongest ones locally are from around Lafayette, Dalton, Somerville, and south. So I don't want to leave anybody out, but we're kind of heavily focused on these areas. And many areas remain under flash flood warnings because the rain has rolled on by. We showed a radar estimate around Ringo 3 to 4, a possible amount up to 5. We'll have to see if that's actually accurate. But yeah, pretty intense there. Destiny says thundering now in Somerville. Claire says in Rock Spring, it has definitely settled down a bit. It's good. And Casey says definitely strong here in Lafayette. Yeah, it's loud in Lafayette. Heavy rain, lots of lightning. All right, let's take a look inside that cell. We noted where the hail was. Rocky Face, Dalton area. Let's look at the wind. All right. Let's go back to our velocity tool here. You can see some strong gusts right in here. Just north of Dalton. That's right where that hail core was there. So these could be some destructive gusts with that. And that little cell that was near Whitwall had that advisory. That had some strong gusts with it a second ago around Whitwall. Let's take a look at it now. Still some pockets of bright reds. That's in that 30, 40 mile an hour range just across Whitwall. That'd be crossing into Sequatchie County. The strong gusts with that particular little cell right there. Okay. And these cells here have not been too strong. They're noisy, but the wind has not been too terribly bad with those. A few pockets of the bright red, but probably around 30 or just under that. But still, the fact those advisories are out mean 30 to 40 mile an hour wind gusts are definitely possible. So Decatur, Athens, Etowah, you got some rain, lightning coming your way. It's not a severe cluster, but it's still pretty loud. And then we got this little cell right here that's got some wind with it. I'll point it out. This is the one that had the wind with it near Whitwall. Again, that's prompted an advisory all the way eastward to Saudi Daisy. So Saudi, you just had some rain in, and then you got this cell coming from Whitwall coming up and over the mountain. That'll be through you through 2 a.m. What are we right now? 1:30. We've been on for about 2 hours now. But I appreciate everybody watching tonight. I know everybody's awake, and we don't want to be awake. I know that. But hey, at least tomorrow's Friday, or today's Friday. And high school football starts, and college football starts next week. So things are looking up. You got to look at the positive side of things. All right. So this storm near Dalton, again, that severe thunderstorm warning out for another 30 minutes. That storm is now over Dalton. We'll take a look at the hail scan in a second, but that one could have nickel-sized hail, gust to 60, along with the rain and lightning. That is moving east at 20. And then on either side of Chattooga County, 2 warnings are out. These are about to expire. Hang on. Right here. These are about to disappear. Storms have moved out of that polygon anyway. They expire at 1:30, so you're going to see those disappear in a second. These right here remain in effect. This part for Somerville, Southern Walker out to 1:30 Eastern. It's about to expire. A storm's still over that area. For Southern Chattooga and Floyd, that's out until 2. Yeah, it'll probably be that long. But in northern parts of Chattooga, it's still pretty heavy there. We'll see if they extend an advisory there. So all those warnings have expired. I was just mentioning. Oh yeah, you got some really wicked gusts there. That's some strong gusts coming in there near Somerville. That's coming off the mountain there. Yep. Still pretty strong. So let's see if Peachtree City extends at least an advisory there. But that's still a pretty strong storm there in Somerville to Menlo, up to about Tryon, south of Walnut Grove. A lot of lightning with it. And that's coming off the mountain from Cloudland to Menlo, off Lookout. And here's the Weiss Lake area, Cedar Bluff, Galesville. That's all moving into southern Chattooga and on into Floyd County. But we'll keep an eye on that cell right there. That's some strong gusts there coming into Chattooga County. Those areas west of 27. All right, let's check out the hail once again for that storm near Rocky Face and Dalton. And move the lightning off there. And we'll loop it. Yeah, you can still see there's still some hail potential near Varnell. A little bit there along the Whitfield-Walker County line. Some pockets of hail. Let's check down to the south a bit what those other warnings were. Yeah, a little bit of hail coming off Lookout. See, there's the east brow of Lookout right here. So that comes down from Mentone to Menlo and descends down into the valley there into Chattooga County. So you get some accelerated wind there. So it could be a little bit of hail accompanying that as well. But that near Rocky Face, Tunnel Hill, was a bit larger about an hour ago, or 30 minutes ago, excuse me, a little bit weaker. Let's hope that trend continues. And we'll leave just the warnings on there right now. Helps us figure out where the strongest storms are. So just 2 warnings left over our viewing area as far as severe thunderstorm. There are several flood warnings out there, and I'll show you those coming up. But it seems to be now the worst weather is right here. Okay. It's starting more of a easterly push. This to the north still has a bit of a northerly push, although it's a bit weak. And then everything else back behind these lines seems to be getting a little bit weaker. We can only hope that that trend continues. All right, let's see some of the comments here. Tori says pretty bad in Cave Spring right now. Yeah, in fact, it is. It's right on the top of you right now. It's right where that arrow is. I've got it on the map there. Erica, no, the tornado risk is really low with this. I'm more concerned about wind gusts and downburst wind and flash flooding. But that tornado threat has been very low. So we're always watching for that, but right now it's very low. Destiny says, thundering bad in Somerville. And Mandy says, thunder getting louder in Murray County. It's closing in on Murray. It sure is. In fact, you're under that warning now from that storm coming from Dalton that'll eventually cross over to Chatsworth. Savannah says, I just need to know if I'm going to be jolted out of my sleep thinking a bomb went off. There's a lot of thunder still, so maybe. So, yeah. And a lot of folks saying they can't sleep. I got you. Me neither. Claire asked a good question. Claire says, random question. Has lightning always been this crazy? The last week or two, the lightning has seemed just insane and constant. Just don't ever remember it being like that. Ha. Good observation there, Claire. The reason why it's been so bad is we've had the heat dome sitting over us. And usually in the summertime, you have the high pressure to Bermuda high that just kind of parks off the southeast coast. We're underneath it, and all the storms go up and around. So for the most part, we only have like a few pop-up storms here and there. It's not too bad. The problem this year, and I don't have my map how to show it, but the problem this year is the heat dome, instead of sitting over us, it kind of parks just to the west of us. So what happens is there's sort of a upper level trough or a dip. We call this a thunderstorm roller coaster. It just causes storms to come down and move our way. So we get these really hot days, and then the storms develop. And when you have a lot of heating and these storms develop, it pushes those heights up there to 40, 50,000 feet, and you get a lot of lightning. So yes, there was a lot of lightning with the storms on Monday night, a lot of lightning tonight, a lot of lightning about a week ago with the storms when it was really hot and the heat dome had moved to the west and upper level trough set them off. So that's the reason why we're seeing more storms this summer. It's been a very active summer. It's gotten us out of the drought. But of course, we've had a lot of damage. We've had wind damage. We've had house fires from lightning. It's just one of those summers that are like that. They don't happen all the time, but every 3 or 4 years you get that where the highs don't park over you. They kind of meander and move. And that's what's happened here. The heat dome's been over the Central Plains states. It moves over us. And then as it drifts back, the storms return. So we only go for about 2 or 3 days without storms before they start coming back. So that'll be the case again tomorrow. We'll be dry Friday, just a pop-up, dry over the weekend, and then storms come back early next week. So you only get a little bit of a reprieve back and forth. But that is a good observation, Claire. Thanks for that question. Hope that answers. But that's the reason why the lightning's been so bad. Claire says, okay. Erica, live in a mobile home in Rome. Do I need to evacuate? Erica, it depends on your situation. You are under a severe thunderstorm warning. There are strong wind gusts there, so that's your call on that. So, anytime there's severe thunderstorm warning there, you could have gusts upwards of 60 miles an hour. So it's up to what can your particular situation tolerate. So if you feel like you need to get to a safer place, then go. Okay. But with the severe thunderstorm warning there and gust potential of 50 to 60, it's concerning if you live in a mobile home. So it's your call, but always err on the side of caution. Play it safe. McDaniel, this is McDaniel Farm. It's really bad here in Ringgold. My backyard is flooded. Stay safe there in Ringgold. But I've been very concerned about that with the flooding. So hopefully that doesn't, it's a short-term flooding issue there for you, but you are under that flash flood warning out to 4:30 Eastern. Again, tremendous with light show, Somerville, Tryon, Lafayette. Seems to be now easing east of Lafayette now. Dalton now getting all that lightning. And it's just to the east of Ringgold. So in Ringgold, where you just kind of got out of it, you're seeing that light show east of you and to the south, although the rain has lit up finally. And again, the farther north you go, these are loud, but they're not too bad. Cleveland, you're kind of easing out of it. So it's much better than it was an hour ago. So one cell here from Whitwell to Dunlap, Sail Creek, Calhoun. These have not been severe, but some strong wind gusts, lightning, and heavy downpours of rain with it. In this warning out, which includes Murray and Whitfield, that's in effect at the top of the hour, roughly about the next 20 minutes. And just like what happened in Ringgold, look what's happening here around Dalton. It's stalling, just sitting there. So heavy rainfall rates there. Varnell, Tunnel Hill, Rocky Face to Dalton. East of Dalton, not too bad yet. So it's kind of barely moving. Let's take a look at some of the winds in there. Yeah, you see broad rotation there. It's indeed a severe storm. You see a broad rotation there. So that's common with a severe storm there. So let's keep an eye on that one, Dalton to Varnell. So we'll keep an eye on that. That's some strong winds in there, Dalton to Tunnel Hill. And that warning for that storm, let's see if they put a storm update on that one. No, it's still moving east at 20, but that thing is just sitting there. I don't think it's moving, hardly moving at all. Let me grab my other microphone here real quickly. And make sure I have my spare microphone here. So again, just to show you, I'm going to go back over that velocity scan. So you can see there's a broad rotation there. It's a severe storm there, just kind of sitting there, parked over Dalton to just south of Varnell, just sitting there. And that's confirmed by some of y'all noting that, Chris, yeah, that doesn't seem like it's moving. Tunnel Hill's rough. Hang in there. Stay safe. Mira, yes. I'll go back to the rainfall totals in a second. We showed the rainfall totals a few minutes ago, but we'll go over that in a few minutes as well, where it's been heavy. Lorraine says it seems to be calming down in Chickamauga. That's good. I'll be glad when everybody's calm. But it's going to be a while. This cell here between Whitwell and Dunlaps has some wind with it. Let's check it out. See its status now. Yeah, it's still a little bit southern part of Sequatchie. It's an easy kind of pick out. That bright red is in that 30 to 40 mile an hour range. So right there. Okay. And it could be some hail there south of Dayton. See that purple? Right there. Could be some hail right there. Let's take a look at the wind. Yeah, you can see a little bit of bright red peeking out there. It's got a strong updraft, that's for sure. Sail Creek just south of Dayton. Some strong gusts there with the heavy rain, but that right there, that's some hail. That's right, hail right there. Right in there. So be aware of that in Dayton. You're going to hear some of that pecking on the window when the hail falls. Line of heavy rain, Calhoun to Etowah. Same thing, Turtletown. That'd be moving on into southern Monroe County. You know, from Cleveland, Ooltewah to Chattanooga, raining, lightning in the distance, so it's not too bad. Not too bad. Around the city, not too bad. South Pittsburgh kind of calming down, not too bad. In fact, you go west of the city, and this is calming down. It's rain, it's lightning, but not to the severe nature. All the severe stuff, the worst weather's here, Dalton to Somerville to Rome, and then these individual cells, they got a kind of a hail threat, but we'll kind of keep an eye on them. But the whole cluster there is kind of spreading out in all directions. So hopefully easing down a bit. This is why when we look at models, a lot of times the storms, I noted, and I mentioned this at 11 o'clock, how, it showed a weakening trend with time. But like I said, there's forecast and then there's reality. That's why you have to take models with a grain of salt, especially when you're dealing with the high res models that update every hour. Storm motion can change in 30 minutes or less. And so you can have a completely different scenario from a model each hour. And so this is why you have to do what we call nowcasting instead of what you see on the models there. So we had to look at the model trends that showed a gradual weakening, and the word gradual really stood out. It was going to be about 2 or 3 hours for it to weaken, but we're still not there yet. But we're getting there. From the area north and west of the city, in fact, to the west, it's improving a bit. That's good. But warnings continue with this line over North Georgia. In fact, here's a new one, which includes Gordon County and another sliver of Chattooga. You got 3 over Chattooga, 3 different warnings. So this just issued a new severe thunderstorm warning out for northeastern Floyd, all of Gordon, northeast Chattooga, till 2:30 Eastern time. Again, gust of 60 and nickel-size hail. That storm is just 10 miles east of Somerville, moving east at 35. So there it is right there. We noted the wind gusts with that a moment ago. It's been a few minutes ago. Yeah, you can see that. Look at those strong gusts there. Hold up. Let me back that up a second. Right there. Those are really strong winds there. Oh, yeah, I think we had a viewer mention something about Cave Spring as a wind. That's probably where you can see that pocket right there. Make sure I got the right cursor on here. Always stronger than that. Yeah. Yeah, that's in the 50-mile-an-hour range. That was a few minutes ago, okay? And now those wind gusts have moved to the east. So watch out, it's kind of curled up a bit, but still that's moving right there. That northeastern part of Chattooga into Floyd down to Gordon. So that's where that new severe thunderstorm warning is in effect right there. See the gust right there. That'll be curling on in the southern Walker. Right there. Some pretty strong gusts there. So watch out, Calhoun. You're under that severe thunderstorm warning, and that's where the strong winds are right there. Good call by Peachtree City there. All the National Weather Service offices do a great job keeping you informed, folks. And again, you can see this is broad rotation with this storm here, but still that's not moving much. So a lot of lightning, heavy rain, still a bit of hail. And thankfully, it's kind of avoiding Ringgold, but again, from Cohutta to Dalton, Crandall, and just west of Chatsworth, that heavy rain just continues pouring over that area. Here's a radar estimated rainfall just this evening alone. And you can see where the worse that rain was. Still is. But you can see right here in yellow, these amounts are about 2.5 to 3. Okay. Then you get into the orange red. And again, this is a radar estimate, so some of the rain gauges may be different. Some of the actual gauges may be lower. As I mentioned, some of the reflectivity with the hail may throw off the total a little bit, so you have to be aware of that. So, but if you just kind of triangulate this, many areas upwards of around 4 inches, 3 to 4, very common in and around Ringgold. And this red estimates up to 5. We'll have to see if that's accurate. But again, 3 to 4 has been very common. And those heaviest areas in and around Ringgold, you can see, there's Boynton Drive, Battlefield Parkway. So Battlefield Parkway, Fort Oglethorpe to Ringgold, has had anywhere between 2 and 3 inches of rain. And close to 4 once you get to Ringgold. Ooltewah Ringgold Road area going north of the city. All right. Over near Depot and moving north. And that's where some of the rain was heaviest. Or the Cherokee Valley Ridge area. Then you move out a bit, and you can see some other pockets of heavy rain been occurring here, west of Dalton. You already see the yellow. That's about 2 inches of rain. And earlier on tonight, come back here. Earlier on tonight, we had the rain north of the city, although they're starting to get more rain now, but in the 1 to 2 inch range was very common. So, again, many areas under flash flood warnings at the time. We'll go back to those severe thunderstorm warnings, but here you go. This is that area in Ringgold. Because of the rain, flash flood warning remains in effect till 4:30 Eastern time. That includes Fort Oglethorpe, Ringgold, Rossville, and Indian Springs. So it includes northern parts of Walker. And then you've got back here, parts of DeKalb, parts of Jackson. These are flash flood warning as well. Fort Payne, Henniger, Fife. All these areas on Sand Mountain up till 4 a.m. Eastern. 3 o'clock Central. And I believe over Jackson County, that goes until 2:30 Eastern. So that's about to expire. About another half hour. And here's the movement over the past hour. Let's look at, so Jessica says trees down in Dalton Stay safe there, Jessica, but what part of Dalton, if you don't mind? Ashley says, I'm in Ringgold by Alabama Highway. Loud with constant lightning. No more hail. It's good. No more hail, strong winds, or downpours, though. That's good. The trees in my backyard scare me during storms. I understand that. But yeah, the lightning you're seeing around Ringgold, most of it, there's still some around Ringgold. You're right here. But it's mostly east and south of you. So you're still hearing it and you're seeing it, but it's starting to trend more away from you. Okay. But the problem is how the storm was stalling near Ringgold. Now it's stalling near Tunnel Hill and Dalton. Just sitting there. You can see just the kind of the broad overview of that storm. That thing is just sitting there. Strong wind gust. It's not moving. Heavy rain. Let's look at the rainfall rate. Yeah, 1 to 2 inches, or about an inch and a half per hour. I'll be interested to see about this particular severe thunderstorm polygon, this one here, because it is moving a lot slower. It's not accelerating to the east a bit. It's just been sitting here over this area here. It's just been sitting there. So that expires in about 8 minutes. I want to see what happens here because at the very least, it'll get an extension. I wonder. But I wonder about the forward speed. I think it's a lot slower. See, Avery says power out in Tunnel Hill. Yeah, I think it's just sitting there. Yeah, Letitia says not slowing down in Rocky Face. No, it's not. It's, in fact, if anything, you notice, look how it keeps pulling in more from the southwest. This is like what was happening in Ringgold about an hour ago. So Caitlin says storming and hailing in Dayton. Yep, we showed that where that hail possibly was. And you can see it right about, let me take the lightning off. Let me take that advisory off for a second. See that little pocket of purple right there? So it's still got some small hail there coming through Dayton. So it is a hail producing storm right there. But it is loud there. No warning. There's an advisory there that the storm itself is moving northeast. Wind gust potential upwards of 40, 50 miles an hour. Moving to the northeast at 15. Extends over to Pikeville down to about Sail Creek. Same thing for Etowah to Athens. These seem to be breaking up a bit. They're not quite as strong as they once were. Kind of getting away from the source a bit. But that one right there, that's still a bugaboo. That one is just not moving and pulling in more heavy rain from the south and west. So a tremendous amount of rain going on in Dalton with a light show and also some very strong wind gust. That warning expires in 5 minutes, but hold the phone on that one because this one's still pretty strong. Starting to make a little movement to the east, just a little movement to the east. Still running heavily across Walker, Southern Whitfield. Lafayette is about to ease out of it. Not yet, but it's getting there. Okay. Still in Chattooga County. Worst of it seems to be right over the Tryon area. Look at that light show there. Let's look at the winds. Oh yeah, you You still see that push of wind. Went right through Somerville. Trine's right here, so it's moving east of there. There's some pockets of strong wind right out of that northern cap of Floyd County, where it borders Walker, but this very strong winds right there, just to the west of Calhoun. So it's got all these storms have just different elements in it. Yeah, it looks like in Rome, where that warning is, the worst wind is on the northern part between Trine and Amerchi right here. That's where the worst wind seems to be. It shows it a little bit better. See, that's curling north and east. That's bringing a strong gust front there to Calhoun. But Calhoun, you're under that severe thunderstorm warning because of that. So at the moment, there are 3 severe thunderstorm warnings locally. It's a lit up map. Let me just isolate it where it's just the severe thunderstorm warnings. There we go. So you can see they are isolated to Whitfield, eastern Chattooga. So Somerville, you're out of the warning. Still noisy, but you're out of the warning. Gordon and down over Floyd. This one from Dalton to Chatsworth expires in the next few minutes, but it's still a strong storm. So this, don't let down your guard yet. And this one has a very strong gust just west of Calhoun. That warning in Calhoun, I believe, is out to 2:30, right? Yeah. So it'll probably take that long to be in effect. This one over this part of Rome, although the winds don't seem to be as strong on that particular part. That tends to top the hour. That would probably expire. But it's the far northern part of Floyd into Gordon, where it seems the winds seem to be strongest. And then you move everywhere else, and again, you've got these advisories, but they're below severe levels, but still some hail, lightning, heavy rain, Pikeville, Dayton. You know, these are, I don't mean to not go to these areas as much as these others in North Georgia, but this is where they're stronger. But these have had some hail with it. We noted that near Dayton, moving into Dayton. A lot of lightning. It's very loud there, but these are just below severe levels. But again, just stay inside due to lightning risk. Beware some ponding on roadways. You seem to be just a little noisy, but not too bad. Eastern McMinn onto southern Monroe, coming out of Polk County. Folks in Cherokee County, not too bad. You have some rain and thunder entering the far northwestern corner, but over near Murphy, you got some downpours, may have some lightning thunder coming your way, but for the most part, severe threat's kind of low right now. And again, this warning here expires in about 2 minutes. Let's see if there's an extension on that. Okay. That storm looked to be finally making some movement east. Looking at the winds in it. Yeah, it's starting to push a little more east. So it's kind of a nudge east just a little bit. But those are slow winds. Kind of like what we had in Ringgold about an hour and a half ago. But it seems to be just making a little bit of movement. And for this warning here, very strong gust right here on the leading edge of this. It's moving northeast. It's not hard to pick out. Look right here. You can see the big gusts right there. Okay, moving northeast. So Chance says, sounds like it's finally moving out of Varnell, not as much lightning and less loud thunder. That's good. Still a lot around there, but still pretty good. Logan, we showed that storm near Dalton. We're going to see if they extend that warning there over Dalton. But that's what we just talked about. How it's making some movement to the east a bit. Hold on, I'll show you again. So it's just making a little bit of movement. So I got some strong gusts with it, but you're right here. So we're watching that, but it's just not moving. So kind of like what it was in Ringgold about an hour ago. Very heavy rain, lightning just persisting. But the winds seem to be easing just a little bit. We'll see if there's an extension of advisory or a warning there. And again, that warning in Floyd County expired. That's good. This one in Gordon County out to 2:30, and we're going to keep an eye on this cell right here, Tunnel Hill to Dalton. It's been a very slow mover. Seems to be easing just a little bit from what it once was. We hope that trend continues. Very important here. It's dark outside. You can't see. And Ringgold, Rossville, Fort Oglethorpe, all under this flash flood warning out for that the next 2.5 hours. North of Chattanooga, this is a non-severe cell. Seems to be weakening just a bit, coming up and over the mountain there. From Dunlap over to Soddy Daisy. So it's on top of the mountain mostly. Heavy rain and lightning for the most part. And there's that cell near Dayton, moving north and east. Let's check the wind gusts. It could have a little bit of hail. This doesn't seem to be reflecting as much. You can see a little bit of the stronger gusts there. It's a little bright red peeking out right there. So a little windy there in Dayton. So you got that beige polygon indicating it's a strong storm, just below severe levels, but a special weather statement until 2:15. And it's moving northeast around northeast at 15, and gust about 50. That's there in Dayton. So heavy rain, a lot of lightning in Dayton. It'll be easing soon. It'll probably take right before 3 a.m., kind of all winding down, but you'll probably still hear the thunder in the distance for a while. And then over here, this cluster of storms here kind of holding together, but not too bad there. Athens, Calhoun, Etowah, not too bad. This has picked up over the past hour. Look at that. Start rain, thunder, lightning. Could have some terrain effects there. Could have some added lift with the mountains as the airflow goes up and over the mountains a bit. Could be enhancing that one. That's right along northern Polk, southern Monroe County. Let's check the winds inside there. Yeah, a little bright green. Showing a little bit there. And you can still hear outside our studios, we have claps of thunder, but for the most part, all of that, it's not bad. All that, if you can sleep through it, you're good. Okay. Turn on some white noise I think someone says it's pink noise that has a better sleeping effect, but try that to drown out the sound of the thunder. Brooke, no, this is we're not looking at a tornado risk right now. That risk is low, but the loud part of this storm near Tunnel Hill is the wind with it, but it's also the tremendous amount of lightning. So, but for the most part, the winds seem to be a little bit less of the past hour, but that tornado threat is low, but it's still going to be house shaking thunder. They did not extend the warning, which is good. So things may start to improve, but you're still going to hear that loud class of thunder through at least through 3 a.m. till the storm winds on down. Hannah says bad wind in Calhoun, Sugar Valley. Yep. And that is that little line we showed you. It's that line right here, right there. And if you look at the velocity scan, remember the bright red we're showing? Yep. Yeah, I bet Sugar Valley is right underneath you. There you are. Thank you, Hannah, for that report, but you stay safe. But there it is. Zipping northeast. But you are under severe thunderstorm warning there until 2:30. And for good reason. But hey, heads up in southern Whitfield, because that line of strong winds there is going to clip on into northern Whitfield, southern Whitfield, southern Murray. Just be aware of that. That part of Whitfield County, near Pratersville, Phelps, And all along the interstate, got some strong gusts coming in. You can see right. Well, come on now. I think the computer's gone to sleep. Wake up. Oh, come on now. Let me zoom out. He doesn't want to cooperate with me. Third time's a charm. Yeah, there we go. So you see those gusts are moving that way. So south of Dalton, south of Chatsworth, you got some strong gusts coming in. Just be aware of that. But that warning over Gordon County is, I believe, in effect till 2:30. Yeah, 2:30. Oh, looky here. Just talking about it. There you go. So, brand new warning. And it's right in that area where that Sugar Valley area. Let's see it. Let's read the text of the National Weather Service update on here. This is a severe thunderstorm warning for southwestern Gilmer, Murray, northeastern Floyd, southeastern Whitfield, southeastern Walker, and Gordon County. Severe thunderstorm located over, you guessed it, Sugar Valley, moving to the northeast at 35, 60-mile-an-hour gust, and nickel-size hail are possible. Right, we showed that wind coming in. We mentioned it's moving into southern parts of Whitfield and Murray. That's where that new warning is in effect. So let's put a tracker on that. Again, that's where the warning is. If your alert just went off the next 45 minutes. If you look at the velocity scan, we're going to be looking right here. Right there. And there's a strong wind right there. Moving northeast. So let's track that. We know the winds are worse right there. All right. So that holds together and continues moving at that speed. We're sacking the next few minutes. Basically right over you now. Chatsworth around 2:34. You're in that polygon till 2:45. And Ollie, that's in Gilmer County, just outside that polygon around 2:47. So there you go. Again, that is for this severe thunderstorm warning just issued for Gordon, parts of Murray, far southeastern Walker, southeastern Whitfield, to 2:45 Eastern Time. And Shelly Shea says bad in Sugar Valley. So Megan, let's see, says trees down in Ringgold on power line, fire near courthouse. Okay, I appreciate that report, Megan. So a tree down in Ringgold on a power line. You'll let the newsroom know about that. Somebody put a tree down in the courthouse. That was so easy. I'll give you just that. I was just going to pass that along. That seemed pretty interesting, to say the least. All right, just letting the newsroom know about that power line situation there in Ringgold. All right, let's loop all this. Again, you can see the strongest storm locally is really that one from Calhoun to about Dalton. This one right here. And we'll put the wind gust up there, and it's pretty easy to see what's going on there. Strong gust right there. Moved right over across the interstate. So right there, very strong gusting. That part of Gordon County, southern parts of Whitfield County. That severe thunderstorm warning in effect till 2:45. We'll pull up this on a different screen here. Yeah, those are pretty nasty gusts. I'm going to zoom in on that for a second. Pause it. Yeah, look at these guys. That's in the 40 and over 50 mile an hour range. So those could do some damage there. And we've had some viewers note that in the Sugar Valley area. So that is the strongest one locally. There's still quite a bit of lightning area wide. And especially that storm near Dalton continues to rain from Dalton to Tunnel Hill, but the wind potential there has kind of died down a bit. So is the hail potential. And I'll show you that. See, the storm itself has kind of moved. It's more ragged, but it kind of moved off to the northeast a bit. The winds are down a bit from Varnell to Dalton, but it's moving a bit, but still raining heavily. So do be aware of the, again, a flash flooding threat. And it's just still, it's parked over you. So it's just a light show. And someone said it's flashy. It's stroby out there. But Dalton heads up for that other cell coming down from near Calhoun. Dalton, Chatsworth, Crandall, for those strong gusts coming north and east, that holds together. Everybody else, it's not too bad. Saudi Daisy, a little noisy, but not bad. These that are moving through Dayton, Spring City, you're going to get some downpours and lightning, but again, it's below severe levels. And this one near Turtletown in the southern Monroe and in far northwestern Cherokee, I think some terrain impacts as it moves northeast, interacts some of the higher peaks, kind of adding to the lift there. So that'll be affecting that as it moves across that southern part of Monroe and northeastern Polk and on into northwestern Cherokee County. That just shows you everybody kind of a general push away to the south. But that strong storm over Gordon County to southern Whitfield, southern Murray is the strongest storm locally. Everybody else west of the city, good night. It's better, okay? Even around the city of Chattanooga itself, a lot of the severity has kind of moved away. So it's not too bad. Amy says East Brainerd, loud, big lightning. It's still around. It's still around. Let me get an update on EPB map here. So EPB, 428 customers affected. It's not too bad. It was worse a couple of nights ago. That's just in the EPB service area. So the one warning locally is out for that storm that's just crossing Calhoun. Right there. And it's keeping this large area out from southeastern Walker to southeastern Whitfield, Murray, and Gordon. So 245, roughly the next 30 minutes. We'll see if that holds together. Go to some of your comments here. Now again, later today, since it is Friday, things do improve. And in fact, this will start moving out over the next couple of hours or so. So by daybreak, I would just urge you to still be cautious of where flash flooding has happened. You know, I'm very concerned about that area in and around Ringgold where it's at 3 to 5 inch range of rain. So that's putting a lot of stress on the storm drains. So be aware of that and be aware of areas while it's still dark. Don't cross areas that have been flooded over. Just don't. Turn around, go somewhere else. Turn around, don't drown, we always say. But again, that's something to watch for through the overnight hours. Could be some trees down also with the saturated ground and some of the wind. So please be careful traveling. But during the rest of the day, Friday, things do improve weather-wise. So not as many storms expected. See how the winds are doing in that one from Resaca to Calhoun. Here again, it's a velocity scan. It's still a bit windy out there. The worst winds of this cell seem to be right over where Whitfield and Murray join right here into the east, but it's not quite as pronounced as it once was. But still, it's going to cause some strong wind gusts, southern Murray, southern Whitfield, right in here. It's not quite as strong as it was as it moved through far northern Floyd into northern Gordon, but still pretty strong gusts, but maybe a little bit lower in the speed, just a little bit. We'll keep an eye on that storm. Elsewhere, you still got rain, lightning. It's just loud. Somerville trying down to Rome. Lafayette, things are improving. Lafayette is still loud around you, but for the most part, the worst is passing by. Ringgold, everything is now just east of you. So still raining, but not as bad. Still a lot of lightning, though. Varnell down to Dalton to Tunnel Hill. It'll eventually wind down. Eventually. Around Cleveland, you're still hearing claps of thunder. Not too bad. Saudi, same thing. Downpours, lightning, but still not severe. I think over southeast Tennessee, this is the strongest storm or the loudest one. Heavy rain, a lot of lightning. As part of Polk County into Monroe. From a velocity point of view, you have some pockets. In this case, you look at the bright green. Some pockets of wind gusts, though not seem to be severe in nature. This advisory from Tellico Plains to Turtletown runs until 3 a.m. You could have gusts up to 50 and movement northeast at 10. All right, new flash flood warning here. This is not a shocker. This is that area from Tunnel Hill, Dalton, Ringgold. Okay, new flash flood warning out to 6:15. So Doppler radar indicated, that's a 220. All right. Doppler radar indicated thunderstorms producing heavy rain across the warning area. Between 1.5 inches and 2.5 inches of rain has fallen over southeastern Catoosa, southeastern Walker, central Whitfield. An additional 1 to 2 possible, which could cause flash flooding. So looking at a potential of 2.5, between 2 and 4 inches of rain in that area. So this area, especially near Ringgold, had very heavy rain past couple of hours, and now this storm stalled here. So Villanelle up to Tunnel Hill, Rocky Face, Dalton, also flooding could be happening there. So let's take a look back at some of the rainfall totals. May not be updated just yet. So where that new flash flood warning is in effect, this is where the newest warning is. So Rocky Face, Tunnel Hill, that's close to 3, 2.5. So there you go. Between 2 and 3 inches of rain right there in that warning area, flash flood warning area there. Tunnel Hill, Rocky Face, down to Dalton. That's where that flash flood warning is in effect. And then again, if you look at this, dark orange, again, is upwards around 4 inches of rain, between 3.5 to 4. Yellow is about a little over 3, or 2 to 3, excuse me. The red is an estimate by the radar. This is around north of Ringgold to up Ooltewah Ringgold Road, 4 to 5 inches of rain. So it's no surprise that flash flooding is an issue. And if you look, while you look at this map, these red bars here indicate where flash flood warnings are in effect. From northern Walker, northern Catoosa, down through that part of Whitfield County. So this is where that flash flood warning is in effect. And then back over northeast Alabama, Jackson, DeKalb County. Flash flood warning out there. That one does not last as long. I believe that one expires soon. Well, 4 a.m. Eastern. So I'm just going to isolate that just a little bit there, just to show the only severe thunderstorm warning left is that one from Calhoun, south of Dalton, to about Chatsworth. All right. This one out to 245. And all the others here are below severe level. So I want to point this out just a second. I had someone ask me, is this going to be severe moving back into Georgia? This is mainly just some more heavy downpours and lightning, not severe, but it is going to bring more heavy rain to Somerville, to Lafayette, to Chickamauga, Trenton, eventually some more downpours toward Ringgold. So again, be aware of that for flooding issues, but this is not severe anymore. Okay. The worst storm is right there. That's the strongest one locally at the moment. The rest of them are all below severe levels. So in many areas you can kind of go on to sleep if you can. But if you live in a flood prone area, please be aware of this. I'll leave that up for a second. All right, folks, just chatting with the newsroom here, just trying to see, making sure they know what you guys are telling us and pass them on to them in the newsroom. I appreciate everybody for letting us know all the info there. All right, let's take a look at this storm right here. This is the one with the severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect. We've been looking at the winds with that. Move a little faster, but there they comes coming in from the south. So Dalton to Chatsworth is going to get a little strong with the wind gusts, especially right here. That part of Murray County, that's where that severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect. Those are still some strong gusts there. Yep. 40 and over 50 miles an hour. Always err on the side of caution with it being higher in that area. But that's, you can see this storm where it's moving off to the northeast. It is past Calhoun. It is past Sugar Valley. So I think you're out of that now. So all this area along 75 south of there in this polygon, I think you pretty much that storm's moved away from you. Okay. So now it's moved farther off to the north and east. So still heads up in Chatsworth. From Resaca to Chatsworth where that's moving. That is the strongest storm locally at the moment. And still, there's just a tremendous amount of lightning. Dalton, Chatsworth, Crandall, all the way to the state line. That's not stopped. Okay, so that's still going to be around and just making it just loud out there. But the strongest storm from a severe point of view is this one here now moving into southern parts of Murray. That warning remains in effect until 2:45. All this other activity coming out of Alabama is primarily rain and lightning. It'll wake you up with some claps of thunder, but not severe. Okay, this is not severe here. Same thing in South Pittsburgh and Marion County to the city. For the most part, there's rain, lightning, but for the most part, not too bad. Saudi-Azy, same thing. Heavy downpours of rain, lightning, but these are all below severe levels. Okay. Southern parts of Monroe, Polk, northern part, and northwestern Cherokee County. Heavy downpours of rain, lightning, could have some gusts upwards of 40 to 50. Of course, that's being channeled through the mountain pockets there, so do be aware of that as it moves north and east. Mainly of the mountainous terrain, but also in those areas you get more drainage issues with flash flooding, so be aware of that. But other than that, we are isolated now to the strongest storm is this one right here. Once that one calms down, the severe threat, strong threat, starts to ease back. I'm still concerned big time about the flooding issue with all that heavy rain. But that one's still a pretty strong storm there. In that part of southern Murray and southern Whitfield County, it's kind of almost moving out of Gordon County now. Trying to see if we've had any. I've seen some of you talk about mentioning the flooding in Ringgold. Does anybody have any confirmation of that? I know we had the issue there in Ringgold about 2 weeks ago, and I've shown on the radar we've had about 4 to 6 inches of rain there, at least 3 to 4. If anybody has a confirmed report there in Ringgold, definitely pass that along. Yeah, hey Lauren, there in Dalton, you got a lot of lightning. Still got this storm coming in from the south and west, but once the storm passes by, that's right here, after 3 a.m., a lot of that will start moving away. And with that, the lightning threat will kind of drift away too. But there's still going to be quite a bit of lightning. It's going to be a little noisy for at least another 30 to 45 minutes until that storm eases away. All right, Megan, thank you for that report there. Just curious about that. So. Okay. Thanks, Megan. I appreciate that. That's what I wanted to know about in Ringgold. If anybody else has any confirmation there, that'd be good. Pass it along to the newsroom. Yeah, Hannah, those strong gusts near Sugar Valley have now moved northeast of you. It's still going to be pretty noisy with some rain and lightning occasionally, but the stronger gusts have now moved away. Let me check this other one here from Ameche to Somerville. That warning expired there. I don't think the gusts have been that strong. No, it's still what moved through Sugar Valley is now moved away off to the northeast. Yeah, passing on that report from Ringgold with the flooding, and that is true. Thank you for y'all for letting us know that. We did see the mayor's report there on his Facebook page and seeing the reports there from Ringgold. So thank y'all for passing that along. Appreciate you. Yeah, K. Reed, the risk of tornadoes is low. He's still got some pretty strong wind gusts with that. We're always watching for any quick spin up of anything, but that chance of a quick spin up is low, which is good. But all things considered, there's still going to be some strong wind gusts of some of these storms moving by, I should say. But heavy rain, a lot of lightning. It's just very loud out there, but I don't want you to be, the tornado risk remains on the low side. Yeah, Kayla there in Chatsworth, that storm now, which is the severe warn storm, is just now moving through you. So you're going to have a lot, the wind's picking up. It's going to be a little crazy for a little while. But thunder and lightning is still pretty intense, but it is starting to make some quick movement north and east. So I would say around after between 3 and 3:30, it should start easing, start from Chatsworth. But you still got the winds coming your way. You're looking at rain and lightning there. There's that velocity scan, and these winds are kind of just spreading out. But you see that dark red, the bright red right there. So you're just coming on in from that direction. So you got strong wind gusts coming your way right between Dalton and Chatsworth. Not quite as concentrated as it once was, but still pretty strong right there. That's what's prompted the warning. Yes, Caitlin, you're correct. Dunlap still has lightning, and that's true. If you look area wide, I know we're focused on where the warning is, but you can see everywhere there's rain and there's lightning around, but it's not severe. It's loud, it's noisy, it's keeping you awake, but it's not severe. Okay, so there's still going to be booming claps of thunder all over the place, but what we're most concerned about is the severe storm. Once these severe storms start to ease on out, we're just basically just down to rain and lightning. And that's our main concern. These will just kind of rain themselves out, but we'll focus on the flash flooding issues here in a few minutes. But we're still mindful and watching where this warning is in effect till 2:45. And you can see in red where the flash flood warnings are in effect. And again, we've had now confirmation of some businesses affected by the flooding there in Ringgold. And flash flood warnings also out southern Jackson, out through DeKalb County. Everybody else, though, notice there's no more warnings, no more advisories. Yes, it's loud, but you can, from a severe standpoint, it's not a problem. If you can drown out the sound of the thunder, okay, you go into sleep in those areas, okay? Try to see an update from the Storm Prediction Center. I don't think they put out a new advisory overnight as far as a mesoscale discussion. They did not. So I'm just trying to see if there was an update from their vantage point. All right, coming up on 2:40 Eastern, we're still watching this storm right here. That's now really over Chatsworth. So for the most part, where this polygon is, I'd say from Resaca, Sugar Valley, Calhoun, you're out of that. You're pretty much out of the severe threat from this warned storm. It's right over Chatsworth. Strong wind gusts, heavy rain, loud claps of thunder. Let's take a look at the velocity scan, which takes a look at the wind inside that. You can see strong gusts right where you see that bright red, right in there. Did you hear that? It's a clap of thunder over us. Again, not a severe storm over us, just an occasional clap of thunder. So it'll wake you up, but again, not severe around the city right now. You can see the strong wind gusts right in there. Again, this warning's still out for about the next 5 minutes. We'll see if that still holds or if another advisory is issued. Let's work our way north and east. These areas finally now starting to see more activity picking up. It's getting a little noisy around Blue Ridge. Same thing in Murphy. They're below severe levels, but again, heavy downpours, lightning, very common. And you can expect some ponding on roadways and whatnot. But again, these are all below severe levels. Okay. But in parts of Cherokee County, McKaysville, Copper Hill, down to Blue Ridge, some downpours, occasional lightning. And we'll keep an eye on that cell coming out from Chatsworth if it holds together. That whole northern part of Murray has got more lightning and heavy rain. And again, that area from Dalton to Rocky Face, Tunnel Hill, down to Villanelle, that's the newest flash flood warning out. That's out till 6:15 Eastern time. Again, between 2 and 4 inches of rain's fallen. And I'll show you some of the rainfall totals here in a second. And of course, the hardest hit area with rain has been Ringgold, or again, between easily 3 to 4. Some of the radar estimates are up to 5, but that area is out to a flash flood warning out to 4:30 Eastern. And still notice there's just rain, lightning all over the place, but none of these that you're seeing on the screen are, except for south of Crandall, but everything else around the city, Soddy Daisy, Cleveland, Chattanooga, South Pittsburgh, noisy, rainy, not severe. So you can rest easy. Okay. This will be where the lightning risk. And just took off that flash flood warning. So you can see again, there's a lot of rain coming in at Alabama to Georgia, but this is not intensifying as far as a severe threat. Okay. So it's just system raining itself out. And again, the strongest storm at the moment is that line right there, Cisco, Chatsworth to just south of LJ, where it's pivoting northeast. Pivot. It's kind of moving that way. That's where the strongest winds are. Right here. Right there. That's where some strong gusts are. So here's the update from Kelly Bomar, Mayor of Ringgold, on the Facebook page here. Updated about an hour ago. Well, updated about 45 minutes ago. So flooding downtown and several businesses and Grease Lightning area severely flooded. This is around Ringgold. Underpass there flooded. That floods a lot there in Ringgold, but that's confirmation. So it's 1:30 a.m. At 1:15, a lot of water and things had backed up downtown. Things were flowing earlier, but that much rain in a short period of time has caused water to back up downtown. That was as of 1:15. So again, as of 2 a.m., flooding downtown Ringgold and several businesses and Grease Lightning area severely flooded. And that's from the mayor's office there in Ringgold on their Facebook page. Okay. So we're going to keep an eye on this area right here where that severe thunderstorm warning just expired, but we'll see if there's an advisory issued with this or if they extend a warning. But at the moment, this is the first time in hours that nobody's under a severe thunderstorm warning. So still heavy rain and lightning in many spots, but we'll see if an advisory or warning is issued there. But Crandall to Chatsworth still pretty rough going. Watch for strong wind gusts, heavy rain, lightning. Same thing here where things are picking up from Copper Hill to Murphy to Hot House. These are heavy downpours, a lot of lightning, very noisy, but again, at the moment, below severe levels. And again, around Chattanooga, I mean, there's rain, there's lightning, but for the most part, it's just that. No longer severe. Same thing in Cleveland. Soddy Daisy, Sale Creek, everything north and west of the city. That's about it. Spring City, you got a pocket of lightning. It won't last too much longer. South and southwest, down 59, just moderate rain, lightning, so lining up the sky, but not quite as bad. These pockets of lightning seem to be dwindling down slowly. So it's not quite as many strikes over the past hour along the Whitfield-Murray line. See, Marianne says lightning bad in Murphy, and you're seeing it on both sides. So you got lightning north of you, and lightning to the south, and lightning to the west. So it's echoing across the valley there. And the only advisory near that area at the moment was that cell near Turtletown lifted north and east, but this, I believe, expires at 3. Yeah. So all of these other storms are just noisemakers. And of course, watch for ponding on roadways, but below severe levels. Let's check what those strong wind gusts were there over northern Murray. Still pretty gusty there, but it's below severe levels, at least the reason why they did not extend a warning yet. We'll keep an eye on that. But these are a little bit weaker than they once were as they moved through Sugar Valley, moved over northern Floyd, and now rotated north and east onto Murray County. See, you can still hear thunder here, but again, not severe, just noisy and annoying, but not severe. So let's go back to the rainfall outlook here. These are the two areas where flash flood warnings remain in effect. Hardest hit area near Ringgold, and then also a secondary area, Tunnel Hill over the Rocky Face. So we'll start in the Ringgold area. So right around Ringgold and north, you've had amounts 4 to 5 in that red area. And the orange here, 3 to 4. In the yellow range here, 2 to 3. And then down here, near Rocky Face, Tunnel Hill, Dalton, that little core right there between Rocky Face and the Waring area, 3.7. And just north of Dalton, about 2.5 to 3. But we'll zoom in a little bit closer. You can see again where we're talking about. This area is east of I-75, just west of 71. That's just east of Rocky Face. And you get into Ringgold. Again, Ooltewah-Ringgold Road is here. So actually, as you leave the city northbound toward the state line, that's where the rain has been the most heavy. Right in there and in and around downtown. Downtown back to the high school, over to Ooltewah-Ringgold Road. Heaviest rain, and then exiting out Battlefield Parkway. And then you get into the area in orange, and that goes back, towards the Boynton area and toward back down Battlefield Parkway. Again, these amounts were quite impressive too. So those are the two areas hardest hit with the rain. Other spots where we see yellow indicated areas that could have been between 2 and 3 inches. Close to 2 inches toward Lafayette. Around downtown, more south side than north. There's still some pockets of 1 to 2 where you see the green, the yellow. Then just now starting to rain here. That cell really picked up pretty quickly in that part of Polk and Monroe. That's already dropped to estimate about 2.5, where it's still raining. Again, hear the thunder here. Not a severe storm, just still noisy. But again, hardest hit right here in all this area right in here is all under a flash flood warning. Right there. Same thing from Fort Payne, south of Scottsboro, all this area under flash flood warning. But there are no other severe thunderstorm warnings at the moment. That is good. That is good. And it's still, again, it's still noisy out there. Still a lot of storms, but for the most part, the severity is dying down. Okay. Strongest ones locally, just heads up in Murray County. It's still a little windy with the heavy downpours of rain and lightning. So watch the movement. So everything's kind of moving off to the east, northeast. Around the city, again, still raining, moderate rain and lightning. Just be aware of that, but not severe in nature. It's just loud. Heads up in Ringgold, where you had the flooding, you got more rain coming in. Hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that's going to make the flooding situation worse there, not improve it at all. So you got more rain coming in. And then, didn't mean to do that. And then from Crandall to Cisco, heavy rain, lightning, right along 411. That'll be crossing into parts, neighboring areas of Bradley and Polk. So be aware of some wind gusts, some rain, and more lightning, making it lighten up the sky. But the pockets of lightning seem to be coming down just a bit. And across Cherokee, southern Monroe, on into eastern Polk. It's raining, lightning, but again, as far as any advisories, this advisory here expires in the next few minutes, and they've not issued another one. So these are just some pockets of heavy rain and lightning, but for the most part, below severe levels. So there's the overview. Wow. But how long is this feed? We've gone on for almost 3.5 hours here of this feed. So let's see. Tiffany asked, when's the thunder going to go away completely? It's going to be a little while. At least another hour or two for the lightning is totally out of here. So you're going to have occasional booms, but rest assured, if, around the city, it's just rain and lightning, okay? This is where the storms are the strongest, but even these are starting to weaken a bit. So the whole system's getting a lot weaker, but it's going to take it a while to rain itself out and still occasional lightning, but not, but for right now, the severe threat has really gotten a lot lower. No more severe thunderstorm warnings. It's primarily now, or as we've been worried about all night, flash flooding. Brenda, Ringgold's okay is from a severe storm point of view, but there's a flash flood warning out to 4:30, and there's more rain coming in. So if you don't live in a flood-prone area, you're okay in Ringgold, but you got to be aware after sunrise. Be aware of the flooding ongoing, and that could be an issue for travel for the commute time. So it can be some lightning and downpours, but not severe right now. But again, just to show you what we're concerned about overnight, be aware of flash flooding. Flash flood warning out for Ringgold, Rossville, Fort Oglethorpe, Indian Springs area till 4:30. And with more rain coming in, it may extend that. Dalton to near Lafayette. Flash flood warning out here for that part of Catoosa, Walker, Whitfield till 6:15 Eastern time. And again, from Henniger, Fort Payne, Fife, south of Scottsboro, and really most of DeKalb County, Alabama. Flash flood warning out till 4 a.m. Eastern. Again, the pockets of the worst lightning and still some wind gusts around Crandall to Cisco, but around Chatsworth, it's moving away. I think someone asked, can they go to sleep at Chatsworth? Yes, but it's still gonna be a little noisy. Same thing moving into Polk County, more lightning spreading out, and I'm sure in Cleveland you're hearing the claps of thunder, seeing the lightning, but it's mainly east of you and moving away. And then large pockets of heavy downpours in the mountainous terrain of Cherokee County around Murphy. right where it borders Clay County and all the way to the border with Monroe County. So a lot of lightning, heavy downpours of rain, but that's about it. All right, my friends. Since we are severe storm free, we're going to end this live stream since we're coming up on 3 a.m. But again, I want to urge you, use caution in those areas under the flash flood warning. I'll pop that back up on the screen from Rocky Face, Ringgold, Rossville, Fort Oglethorpe, especially in Ringgold, where we've had reports of businesses being affected by the flooding. Please stay safe traveling. Turn around, don't drown. If you're riding a bike, driving a car, do not cross over flooded water. Don't cross over flooded water on foot either, okay? But this has been a big problem this summer so far, these heavy downpours of rain and getting too much all at once, and that's what we've had. So please stay safe out there. Just stay inside like these storms pass on by, especially with the lightning risk. It's still going to be a little noisy for a while. But as far as the severe storms, that is gradually ended. All right. So let's stay safe. All right. Understand that there's still loud claps of thunder, a lot of lightning. It'll eventually start winding down soon. But the storms, for the most part, are staying below severe levels. It's still very loud, but not from a severe standpoint. All right. Stay safe, everybody. Be careful. Don't forget, our news team is watching all the flooding situations around the viewing area. They'll have a full update coming up on News Channel 9 starting at 4:30, just 90 minutes from now. I believe meteorologist Olivia Glass will be in this morning, and she'll be in here shortly and tell you more about the flooding situation and about improving weather the rest of the day on Friday and great weather for the weekend. All right, we're getting over this big hurdle tonight. So stay safe out there with the rain. Understand, again, it's still going to be noisy for a while with the thunder and lightning, but the severe storm threat is winding on down. It's mainly a flooding concern in the areas under that flash flood warning. Stay safe again. Have a great morning. Be careful.